Ah! He didn't do it. Oh,
We didn't do it. We'll do it next time, chat. What are we talking about? You'll find out. Oh shit. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Go Live.
it's not the week.
Oh man. Jake, come on, Jake. Chat. People listening around the world, what are we talking about? Mr. Kirkland here, our good friend, sent across two intros. One of them I thought would be a bit too wild, but I was praying, because our friend Jake picks them, was praying that would be the intro. Now, if Kirkland doesn't fuck things up, and he comes back a second time, I'm going to make sure we do it the second time. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for waiting patiently. 190 of you already in the chat. I see you, everyone. Blaze, what the fuck are you doing? That's not your song. Isla, Capono for the win. Fletch, everyone. Tim, episode 13. Everyone, whatever your name. Dave Max, Serendipity, all of you guys. Shout out. We're going to have an incredible show. And yes, shout out to Colt Eastwood. We'll have a single guest because it's time. Look, this is a serious topic.
No. That's not what he means. Like, Colt is asking, is he single? I don't know, Colt.
Kirk? Yeah, he looks like he might be taken. And I don't think you're over his persuasion unless you have some Latina genes and a big booty. You will realize what I mean by that in the future. But shout out to everyone in the chat. We've got an incredible show. Some somber news. Some pretty weird time for Kirk to make his debut on the show because there's somber news, some really bad news afflicting the industry. But we will keep it positive despite all the madness. And there's a lot to unpack here, because the internet seems like every week there is some drama, some calamity, or some BS or celebration. And this is one of those moments where it's clearly in the calamity section. Three-man show with my boy Asa. Here it is. You definitely get to talk this time. There's no excuses. And this one, you're going to get clipped because there's a lot to talk about. What are you saying, man? You good?
I'm going to be as brief as I can and hardly say anything to make it really awkward for everybody.
Do it, bro. Just do it. It's the same thing as you do all the time now. You're gonna fucking talk today. Yeah, man. Before we're like, okay, what games you be playing? Let's go straight into it.
Oh, like games. I've been playing less because I've been doing loads and loads of stuff on my YouTube channel, like rebranding and making things for various podcasts. But I have tried all the ones you'd expect me to try. I played a bit of Palworld. I played Strider, which obviously you'd expect me to have played. Baldur's Gate 3 still ongoing. Rocket League, Halo. Did I play Halo? I can't remember. Loads of stuff. All of the games, all at once, at some point over the last week.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sounds a bit like me. Crazy, all over the place. It's a good time to
you
catch up.
You play one thing at a time now, right? This is your new policy.
But not barring multiplayer. Multiplayer has a little exclusion clause out there. So I've been playing a lot of multiplayer. Just before getting to Kirkland in his intro and who he actually is. Who the fuck is this guy? We're going to talk about... he doesn't know himself. I'll be playing Palworld, man. I made fun of it last week, said, what the hell is this game? I don't understand why it's blown up. And then the social media was just being gas, you're being a bitch, play this game. And I was like, fuck's sake, there's so much peer pressure to play Palworld. And I thought, yeah, this is just people just talking absolute bollocks. I'm not going to like this game. This doesn't look like a game that I'm going to play. Nope, wrong. I was stuck playing it with my good friend Dean the other day till like 2-3 in the morning. I was like, bro, I have to wake up in 5 hours for work. What are we doing? Fuck it, let's just build this base. Let's do this. Oh, it's just like crack. Palworld is like crack. It's an evil game, but it works. And it's just that. And I've been playing the finals as well. Finals is such a good multiplayer game, man. I think people are. I hope people give it enough credit because that game is a breath of fresh air in the multiplayer space, and I think it has decent long legs. I think it deserves a lot more flowers than perhaps it gets. I saw some like controversy again about AI and voice because they voice stuff. AI, I didn't even know that's how crazy voice AI is in games. It's AI based whatever voices, and to be honest,
stop, Gaz. Stop keeping Colt waiting and do the guest introduction, please.
Oh shit, Colt. Oh, Colt. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. This is making it easier for timestamps. I'm gonna actually have a pen here and write down the timestamps. How many minutes have elapsed? Roughly. Oh, it doesn't even tell you, YouTube, you cock. What the fuck does YouTube not tell me how much time has elapsed? 10 minutes ago. I'll just go with that. 10 minutes. And now, after 10 minutes, we talk about our new guest. He's here. I don't know who the fuck he is. Yes, I do. What kind of? Partially. He made waves on social media. I saw a clip and everyone's like, get him on gas, because I was listening intently to Kirkland here, who was making some serious sense. Ladies and gentlemen, may welcome perhaps a new storm in a bottle that we've captured, a man who has been with Jeff Grubb on a couple of shows and co-host with him. It is, ladies and gentlemen, Kirkland Greybottom. This is where you talk, Kirk.
Hi, what's going on? So happy to be here. No, seriously, this is awesome. Watch some of the show after, like, people were adding you, like, in the video that went viral. They were like, guys, you got to get him on. So I was like, who is this guy? And I DM'd you, like, right after, because I saw, like, different episodes of the show. I was like, oh, this show's awesome. So I was like, I really want to get on the show. And then, yeah, we linked up, and here I am. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it's a great opportunity for me, obviously, but no, I'm here to have some fun and talk about games. Unfortunately, it's not that fun of a week. So we have to deal with that, but I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but I'm sure we will, because there's a lot to talk about. Before we do talk about the obvious, which we'll get into, gorgeous shirt, bro, says Capono in the chat. We've got...
I'm just getting hit on by a lot of men today.
Welcome
in the chat.
Yeah. Welcome to Go Live. We've got a few super chats. So first of all, shout out to KJ Wars, who's a member, and now he's been a member for 7 months for renewing his membership. Shout out to you, man. And shout out to Mr. Eldrick as well in the chat. And we got Bean Got That Dope. Is that? Bean Got That Dope. Yeah, Bean Got That Dope. That's a weird name.
Nailed it.
Thank you. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Parasite Eve remake, yay or nay, Kirk? Do you care about Parasite Eve? And you say yes.
I know that the Kind of Funny guys kind of memed Parasite Eve a while back as like one of the best PlayStation franchises ever, which is like not really true. They were kind of doing this bracket thing and it kept knocking off stuff. Like the chat was like voting, and the chat kept voting for Parasite Eve. Parasite Eve's like that, like a old style Resident Evil clone. Like it's like 1 and 2, but I can't remember who made it. But yeah, I mean, they're good games. They're just like those Resident Evil games, but like not quite as legendary. So yeah, remake like in the style of like Resident Evil 4, absolutely, that'd be dope.
Yeah, no, man. There's a lot of people actually talking about a lot of games that should come back, especially this week, and questioning whether we might get that here. So let's see. Chat, everything's okay? Someone was saying it's working. The stream is working. Okay, fine. I think someone is struggling. Shout out to Erica in the chat. Gaz, I'm sad I couldn't come on for the Spanx. You deserve some, because Erica's for the win made an incredibly hilarious video. After last week, we had Sean come in and he was taking a shit on Erica for being or suffering from motion sickness, and I valiantly tried to defend Erica's honor. And it turned out Erica did play first-person games, so there was a half-life to her motion sickness, and all I just said, acknowledged it. And Erica made a scathing video of me, murking me, and Sean. It was brilliant. Definitely check it out. Before we get into the main crux of the topic, I want to talk about actually Palworld. Palworld has gone since last week. We said it was gaining massive popularity, and since then it sold more than 7 million copies in less than a few days. Like, it put that in perspective with like your big budget Spider-Man. It took 15 days for them to sell more than like 5 million. So Palworld is insane, and a lot of people are asking questions about what this means, about the gaming industry generally as a whole. Are things shifting? Is this just a weird one, Asa? Is this just like a weird anomaly? Because people are saying this game probably has stolen assets. Something doesn't feel right. Devs don't feel like it's icky. This could be that AI kind of games we might get churned out, like asset theft. What do you think about this? Does there something feel wrong about you playing this game?
I paused for a little while to wait and see how that one went out. I had a little chat in my Discord with people actually who were trying to do the same thing, trying to pressure me to play it. And I'm like, yeah, But there's a lot of noise around this being icky, a lot of like quite serious accusations that they've been literally stealing assets from other companies, and jury's kind of out on whether that's true or not. But as time's gone on, it looks like most of the accusations and things have been disproven. So it's still a little bit up in the air. We've seen the Pokemon company Game Freak kind of posturing and gesturing like they might take action if they can find anything amiss. But until they can find anything amiss, I think it's fair play to get on it. And it is really weird because last week when we were talking about it, we talked about it with Samurai Kibuji a lot, and he was talking about how it's a success because it's riding off the back of Pokemon. It's all familiar and all the rest of it. Which I don't think is necessarily true. Like, it's obviously got elements of that going for it, but it's blown up in the way that survival games, and particularly janky early access survival games, just seem to have a habit of doing in the PC space, where word of mouth spreads like fire. And there's something about that genre, which I'm sure we'll come on to Blizzard a little bit later on, but there's something about that genre that there's just a clear, massive appetite for people to just spend their days and hours on it. And Palworld has just captured that, and it's captured this social media wave, the zeitgeist, as you'd say. Everyone talking about it. Obviously, it's got normally when you get these early access survival games that blow up in the way that Rust did and Ark did and like a whole bunch of others, normally they don't make ripples into the console space until some months later. But this one's obviously got a simultaneous launch, so the explosion of noise is much, much bigger, and we're hearing it everywhere. Everyone wants to play it.
Yeah. Especially PlayStation guys. But yeah, everyone does
do you know what? The only PlayStation guy I've seen asking for it was you in disguise.
He's just like on top of another guy in a trench coat, like, bring power to PlayStation, please.
That's exactly what happened.
Please, sir.
That's exactly what happened. You guys know you want to play it. You want to know what you're missing out on. Yeah. I think you summed it up quite well there. Have you played this, Kirk? Have you played Palworld? What do you think about this game?
I have played it. I didn't take to it. And that's a personal thing for me. I totally get the appeal. I get why it's blowing up. It's such a me thing to like not like this game when so many other people love it. Like, I mean, what, 8 million now? Yeah. But no, I've never really taken to like the Rust, Ark, Minecraft kind of crafting survival style games. But the internet loves those, and Valheim's another one. Twitch loves those. And so it makes total sense that you combine that with something that has the absolute stopping power of Pokemon, and how many eyes and attention that gets from people. I mean, just look at Pokemon Go when that blew up. I mean, that was insane. That was a whole phase. So I think you've kind of got like that sort of lightning in a bottle effect, and they've just put in all those sort of janky kind of Rust, the Forest, those type of games. They put in those elements into this game that people on the internet already love. It's really ingenious that they did this, and it also I don't know if you guys have seen the interviews of these devs going around online, but like they're talking about like, yeah, we didn't know how to like do the code for that, so like we just like found some guy that like worked at a grocery store, and he was like going to uni part-time and like whatever, like like just had him do it like every other week he'd like do 10 hours or whatever, like I just making up stuff, but like it was crazy, like the quotes that they've gotten from these devs of like, if they did like steal a bunch of stuff, like they are so like earnest and nonchalant about the whole thing. Like they're like, yeah, we don't know anything about how to make a game. So I don't think that they did. I think that they were just like, screw it, let's try and make a game. And it like, as far as I'm concerned, it did turn out like pretty janky. Like it did turn out like, it's definitely like Steam like demo
Steam jank
trash. Yeah. Like, but like people love that stuff when it hits right. And this is just one where just right time, right idea, right concept, and seemingly right execution, and it is blowing up, man. I think like the main thing is that people have wanted Pokemon to evolve in some way for like a while, and there's several reasons for that. Like you've got this kind of new age thing that has been sort of regarded in public consciousness as like very good and appealing, of sort of taking an established IP and established franchise and evolving that into like something new and that goes beyond what it was before. The best example of that I would think is like God of War. Like that franchise completely changed in terms of what people understand that to be. And so like people said before Halo Infinite comes out, gosh, I really wish that they give Halo the God of War treatment with this campaign and stuff, because I want to see it go beyond, sort of evolve into something bigger, better than what we knew back in the 360 era. And so people have wanted that for Pokemon ever since it was announced that it was going to come to Switch, because these games have always been on pure handheld devices. And the Switch obviously has, you know, TV functionality, and there's a lot more that you can do with that hardware. And then they get these games in hand, Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield, and it's like, oh, this is just like X and Y and Black and White, but it's just on a bigger screen with slightly better graphics. Or in the case of Scarlet and Violet, maybe it runs even worse. So people have been clamoring for some sort of evolution of this franchise, and it's not even like these guys that made Palworld had to like come up with an idea on their own. They kind of just took the best elements from these other type of games that the internet already loves, and we're like, we're just gonna smash these together and make Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Rust, and everybody's just eating it up, man. And it's really fascinating. It's really cool to see, even though I don't like those type of games. Like, it's very cool to see like what happens when maybe one group or company that makes a franchise like is not willing to push the envelope, and then somebody else is like, you know what, hold my beer, like let's go, we're gonna do something with this. And so I think that's why everybody's responding so much to that, to the fact that they did that.
See, and you summarize that well, and I think really for me what this represents, because it's astounding that these guys were learning to develop on the job. These guys didn't know how to develop, and what I see game development, how I see it evolving, is those tools in the hands of more, as they become more accessible and easier to develop. You will see more games like this. Now, this will get murky. I think I'm reminded of our conversation, Asa, with Thomas Sala about, you know, the jank games, and you're going to get these AIs going to give birth to it. And I think AI, even though it may not be perhaps strictly relevant in the development of this game, I think AI and development will give rise to or enable people to create games like this, games that we may be a little bit, some people may be a bit snotty nosed on and turn, you know, say that, well, this is jank, but it still finds its audience because it essentially gets to the core of what gaming is about and hitting those right notes and having fun. I feel like it redresses the balance a bit because we've been guided by a very specific way game dev has gone, and this is kind of freeing things up. And this is where I see the positives of something like AI. Now, they're definitely negatives. They're absolutely negatives. But I think I see this as positive. And do you agree with? Do you see that idea of where I'm alluding to with the AI and game dev and like indies?
Yeah. So going back to when we had Thomas Eller on the show, he's very vocally against AI and what it will do in terms of game dev in the industry. And to take like his example and his standpoint forwards, if AI really takes off and becomes what you're saying it will be, there could be a scenario where Palworld comes out like it is, and then in 2 or 3 weeks there's 20 games like it that are doing the same thing, and the jank won't really set it apart, and suddenly any creativity and originality and ideas that they've had could get buried and oversaturated by replications. It's a weird game though, so yeah, it's already like picking and taking other people's ideas and making the best of them. So whether that be human or AI driven, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how concerned to be in that regard, because I'm more aligned with you in that I think the possibilities that better tools and AI driven tools will open up are pretty exciting. They might enable an idiot like me to make something cool, right?
Same.
So yeah, that's a tricky one to navigate the industry. One.
I think that's the thing though, is like the idea that AI steals is a bit of a red herring in the overall AI discussion, in that it's distracting a little bit from, I think, what the main concern with AI becoming more and more prevalent in game dev, which is that, you know, yes, games borrow ideas from other games all the time. All you have to do is like look at like the Horizon games versus Ubisoft Assassin's Creed, or, you know, Far Cry versus another first-person shooter, or Bethesda games and now Obsidian games, or maybe I should say the other way around so I don't piss anybody off. But you know, a lot of games borrow from each other. A great one is Shadow of Mordor got a lot of accusations that they stole stuff from Assassin's Creed, and they might actually have, but the idea wise, stealth and combat a little bit similar. Their combat was a little bit similar to the Arkham games as well, same publisher, so that's fine. But you're taking and borrowing ideas from different franchises, different IPs, and that happens all the time, and that's normal. We pay people to do that. We pay people who work in game development to work on that stuff, to sort of iron out what the differences are. You know, like Palworld, they didn't just steal the Pokemon, right? They had to make up, you know, Hookrates and Mammorest. Like, they had to make up all those Pokemon. They had to design, conceive of all those Pokemon. Even if some of them are kind of like ripoffs, they are all also somewhat original. And so, like, people had to actually sit down and, like, come up with those ideas. And, you know, they're getting paid for that now because people are buying that game. And
a lot.
yeah, which is good. They should. And, you know, we're in a week where we're seeing how expendable game developer personnel actually are. And so the scariest thing about AI, I don't think is not that, oh, they might borrow from other ideas or other art assets. I think it's that we pay people to sort of iterate and make derivative art that has their own spin on it, and that's their livelihood. And if we have AI do that in a more efficient and streamlined manner, now all those people, those that aren't there to create. There is also the aspect that the AI will be more iterative and more like the source material. Like, it doesn't have that human element of creativity to sort of set it apart, like something with a Palworld. So that's not good. But I think the main concern with AI is not necessarily that it's stealing ideas and art. It's that it's replacing people who can create reasonably derivative art. And so that's where I get really concerned about it, is like, are we going to lose opportunities for people that are you know, are creatives and our labor, because now they can just, that what they do can be replaced by a machine. And I hope that doesn't happen anytime soon. I really do.
I mean, that's I don't prescribe to the whole gloom and doom of it. It's just going to be full on Skynet of game dev. I think there will always be a market that seeks to value creativity, but I think creatives for a long time in a lot of fields are actually neglected with or without AI. They have been for years, and I think an unintended consequence perhaps will be that people will value creatives and handcrafted experiences a lot more. But again, this is me guessing with the landscape, because you know, who knows. An odd bit of news regarding Palworld. Did you see Peter got involved? And I thought this was a joke, so I had to look into it. But Peter got involved, and they heard from their fans, and they're demanding that they have a vegan guide for the game. I fucking thought this is Peter always comes across as an absolutely fucking mental or institution that will kill human beings to save one hedgehog. Actually, Everborn Saga would probably do the same. But it does feel a bit weird when you're killing these cute things. It's funny. They're just like, and you see their bodies just lopped around, and they're just like, with the ragdoll, they're just like floating about everywhere, and they stay there for a while, and you're like, that's a bit, nah, fuck it. Let me get some more wood. Let me get some more meat. Kill these lambs. It is a bit weird, but even Peter got involved. I'm just like, yeah, we are in a parody of ourselves. So Palworld, man, let's see, you probably hit 8 million already. You never know.
The Peter thing, that's my fault, you know. You know, right at the start, you get those chickens that are really round. I just thought,
yeah,
Rocket League, and mistake.
Yeah, I really wish they had a punt button, because they look so nice and round and fluffy. You just want to kick them. And there were these weird animations that people made, or so an artist made, where they just turn over one of the pals, or I call them Pokemon because that's what they look like. It starts slicing them and chopping them up and then feeding, and then there's like, ta-da! Here's a dish. But it's like, it's really kind of, it looks violent and just unsettling at the start. But that's the world. But yeah, this week, just before we get onto the show, by the way, and we are 28 minutes. Oh, this is sick. Gonna make my life easier with freaking timestamps, because someone always 3 seconds after the show ends goes, timestamps. I was like, do you know how fucking long I have to cycle through the show to find the time to do the timestamps? Cycling into the next topic, it is IGN not getting review codes for Suicide Squad. I almost said Gotham Knights. That's how. It's quite interesting that I mixed that up. Jeff Grubb, your friend. He used to be my friend. He just ignores me now. Kirk.
Same. Is this a thing that Jeff does? Because it's absolutely the same. Absolutely the same.
A cock. You know, the last time I had to get you on my show, I had to send the videos on the shower, taking a shit, had to sing a soliloquy, and I've stopped asking you because you're.
I think he's just really busy. But like,
he is.
man, like I just want to be your friend. Like, you don't have to talk to me more than like twice a year. But yeah, no, he'll like my stuff on Twitter every now and then. But yeah, I've tried to see if he wants to be back on the show or anything like that. Yeah, he just ignores my DMs now. So
he's just like I think he plays hard to get. But
he's a dad. He is a dad.
He does a lot. He does juggle a lot. He's a great guy. I love his hair. Regardless, but
great head of hair.
Yeah, he's got a great head of hair. Definitely. Did he shave it? He shaved it. But I think he's back now. He didn't get a copy of it. So I see Astro Cyborg in the. Oh fuck, he's gonna clip that. Astro Cyborg says Destin was too honest in his preview for Warner Brothers, and I think because he was quite scathing. In fact, actually, there was a bit of back and forth between you and Destin, wasn't there, Ace? Ace, I saw you were like,
not really.
You had a bit of an issue, or is it? It's not an issue, but there was a big back and forth between you and him. He said like, what did you do? You said you're just being a piece of shit for no reason, or there was. And
I was a nice guy. He said something. I can't remember what he said. So I just put up on like, yes, that's probably not the best response to the situation. And I very quickly was like, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure this isn't how you meant it to come across. I really can't remember what it was, but he said something along the lines of the reason. Oh no, I do remember. It was Suicide Squad. He said, so John Linneman had said, you don't often get negative previews. Normally when you're treating these like journalists all nice, they'll say nice things. And Destin responded saying, yeah, they didn't treat us that nice, basically. It was how it came across. What he was trying to get across was he was saying like the preview event was short and there were equipment troubles and stuff like that, and that's the reason that we gave it a bad preview, which like isn't what their audience is looking for. We don't want to know that you had a hard time at a preview event. We want to know if the game's good or bad. So it came across completely wrong. But what he was trying to get, I'm sure what he was trying to get to was that actually they didn't get like much quality time with the game because the already short preview time was disrupted, and maybe their impressions would change if they'd had longer or something like that. He didn't mean it as bad as it sounded. But it did sound bad, and I was very quick to be like, yeah, like I'm not causing drama. I don't give a shit that much. It's just that reads really badly.
Yeah.
I have it. If you want me to read it,
yeah, go for it.
So Asa, our boy Asa here, spitting straight facts, straight fire. Says IGN put out a scathing preview of the game not because of the content, but because they didn't like the way the preview event was run. Are you sure that's what you want to go with? Destin responds with, that's not what I said, bro. And Asa comes back, hey, trying to be drama free. It pretty much is what you said though, but I'm happy to accept it isn't what you meant.
Oh no, I played this up.
Mic drop.
What the fuck? It's so abrasive sometimes, but I love it. But you had to clarify. We love your brutal honesty. I give the benefit of the doubt.
Keep them honest, Asa. Yeah.
Absolutely. In this gaming industry, man, they're like, especially after this week, if you want any more proof, I don't sympathize with the soft approach particularly with publishers. But game devs is like there are people behind it, and you have to be a little bit. From people that I know that who may be working on this game, I feel like the publisher deserves a brunt of a lot of the hate that Rocksteady will get. Because I feel like I feel like whatever Suicide Squad ends up being, and I'm telling you right now, I'll be shocked if this is anything even close to 80s meta. It's going to be a 65 to 75 meta game.
I'm reviewing it. I'm doing a review on my channel. On What's New Video Games because of what you're talking about. Because of what you let in with the headline, IGN have not gotten review codes. So that gives a tiny little channel like me with less than 3,000 subscribers. I already paid $100 of my hard-earned money, so I can tell all the people watching and the people who are going to come through on my channel if this game is hot garbage or if it's any good or not. And my video might actually not get buried by IGN, which I always have to worry about. When I put out a video, like a review, it tracks like up, and then IGN's review comes out and it just flatlines. Like it's just dead. Yeah. So because they haven't gotten codes yet,
it's disgusting.
Disgusting. I mean, it is what it is. People want to go to them because they're the best known name. So I get it. But yeah, so like with something like this, I'm gonna turn on the game at midnight and just bust my ass until I can get a review video up, and hopefully I get like 48 hours before they put theirs up. And yeah, and I'm not gonna lie to people and be like, oh yeah, it's, I don't know, the story's good, so I guess all the terrible gameplay is okay, you know, or whatever, or maybe I'll like it, you know. I'm not going in biased, but yeah, this is a unique opportunity for someone like me, where it's like usually I got a code for Prince of Persia, but I got it the day that all the reviews were already out. And so it's, given that I'm not a Twitch streamer, I'm a reviewer. At least that's what I'm trying to be. It's like, all right, well, I can do F all with this now because there's, you know, 28 reviews online from like people with giant subscriber bases. So, you know, maybe I'll get the next one. It's like Tekken 8. That was one that I was able to do. This one is one that I'll be able to do. And I like that this is one where like people are going to need reviews because this is happening. So like, I'm excited to like get no sleep on Monday night.
When's the embargo lift?
Well, I don't know. Like, that's the thing, is like normally, so with Prince of Persia, because I have the benefit of being in the Ubisoft creator program. Thank you, Ubisoft. I got that game at embargo. So that was like the 11th of December, I think. Or was it January? No, the 11th of January. And the game came out on the 18th. Well, the 11th was the embargo. So like usually it kind of works like that. Like the embargo lifts, and then IGN, like you'll see everybody post, like it, like everybody's video will be like posted an hour ago, because everybody at the same time, like 12 p.m., like whatever it is, can post a review, and they're not allowed to post anything before that. So with this one, there probably is an embargo that has like already lifted on this game, but they either A, don't have codes, or B, what I've been seeing the most of online is they have the game in hand, the servers aren't live because it's an always online game. So like IGN can't go in and play the game to get footage and to do analysis for a review. So like it, like literally at midnight on Monday, it's going to be like a starting gun, like for a horse race, and everybody's just going to be going all at the same time. Like embargo's out the window. The whole embargo system doesn't apply for this game, and it's really fascinating like how that's happening in this instance. It's not good that WB is doing this. I do want to stress that. Like, I am selfishly interested because as a small creator, it gives me the chance to like line up at the starting line with IGN and like try to get there first and like get my review out, you know, so that like people will like come to my channel. But no, this is like very bad. This is what Cyberpunk did, CD Projekt Red did, when they knew they had hot ass as far as the PS4 and Xbox One versions were concerned, and they said, yeah, you're not going to show any of that footage ahead of launch. And so like this is very similar to that, and it's not good when games do this, and they shouldn't be doing this. So I just want to decry that as like a business practice. Like, I'm not in favor of that. That is not gamer friendly. Yeah.
There's also usually a warning sign about how the game will fare. A lot of people have played the beta. The NDA had lifted on those, so a lot of people are able to talk about it. I wasn't a fan, and I'm not saying it's a terrible game, but people will inevitably compare this with Rocksteady's previous games, and it just doesn't. It won't hold well. And I think they made a solid-ish game that should have nothing to do with the Arkham universe. But hey, when I was playing the beta, other people were like, Gaz, you need to give it a try. It's okay. I didn't find it, you know, there was no moment where this was like exhilarating. The only thing that I could see that would have the longevity were the hooks and the way, you know, you level up or you get unlocked stuff and that kind of gassy element of it, which may get its hooks into people. But who knows? We could be surprised. There may be a story that is a lot more cogent. They saw the Joker was revealed as a character there, and people.
I loved that. I love that they're bringing him in the first month. Like they're like, we're getting serious, because with Avengers, everybody wanted that. You know, like everybody loves the MCU, so everybody was like, with Avengers, there's so many possibilities. And then like the first two characters they release are like the two Hawkeyes, and they took like 6 months to come out. And then Black Panther didn't even come out until a year later. So at least the fact that they're getting ready to produce and release like a bunch of content up front, and it's all going to be free, that at least is like a silver lining and like a good sign. Like they're doing a lot of things right in terms of the live service model for this, and like not like taking advantage of people and making you pay for a bunch of stuff. And also they're delivering on content like on a month-to-month basis. So it'll be interesting to see if they can make this type of game work. I feel like it's going to be more in line with like your Division and your Destiny type stuff than like Anthem or Avengers. And if that's the case, I think it will be like a mild success for them. That's probably like the ceiling that they can aim for, is like trying to replicate
Mild
the games
success.
that have done it like well.
Yeah. I question how well they will do with it. Capona says Gaz is almost defending it. Huh? I don't know what that means. I don't think I am. Luke Steele, shout out to you in the chat. He goes, he's played the alpha and he thought it wasn't very good. Shout out to Fonz in the chat. I see you. But yeah, no, I think they have to go hard on everything, early content release or anything to withstand a chance of making as much money as possible. But Asa, do you have high hopes for this one?
I played the alpha or beta or whatever it is that they let us all have a little play around with. Didn't like it very much. Thought it horribly missed the mark on its sense of humor and things. But that is a difficult thing to get right, particularly in the intro of a game. It's very difficult to make characters remotely endearing within the space of an hour, or whatever. Yeah. Whatever I played it for. So I think this weirdly works to its advantage. A lot of people played that and didn't enjoy it, which means expectations are fairly low, and it might get a little wave of positivity when it slightly surpasses the expectations that people have set for themselves based on their own playtime with it. I don't think that the experience we had of it was its best foot forwards. I did like, I can't remember which character I was that had to shoot him in the kneecaps to get the shield back, and it had some interest in depth to the mechanics. They have tried to differentiate the way each of them fights and things like that. But yeah, I didn't like it. So
yeah,
having low expectations is kind of the strongest asset that it's got going for it at the moment, which isn't an ideal situation.
I do think there's some potential for it to, like, so right now the people that are very interested in it are the people that were interested in Rocksteady's other titles, like the Batman games. And so I think that this game will live or die by whether or not it appeals to the people who like Destiny, The Division, Borderlands, and Outriders. Like, that's their audience. If those people and the people that like MMO light type of games and looter shooters, if they don't like this game, like for the gameplay loop, this game dies. Like, it's not going to appeal to the Batman people. Like, they've already lost them. That's done. Yeah. So they've gone and they've said, all right, we're effed. Let's delay this and try to make this as good as it can possibly be so that we grab those people. Because Destiny's sort of dying off. The Division's had like a long hiatus. Like, people are sort of waiting for Division 3 now. We've had some failures with like Anthem and Avengers. There's not really one of those type of games, those live service MMO light games that's occupying the zeitgeist right now, unless you consider like Diablo 4, but they're not doing so hot either. So like, if that's the only way this game is a success story, I think, is if the gameplay loot and the like looter shooter sort of MMO type of elements, co-op shooter elements hit like a Destiny or something, this game will find its audience and it will have sort of a little bit of a success story. If those people don't like it, this is gonna crash and burn. It's gonna be awful.
I think you're on the money there in terms of who they need to appeal to and who will actually play this for an appreciable amount of time. Whether or not the title can withstand all of the negativity surrounding it, so that those people actually do give it a chance, is another matter entirely. Because then, you may have fans of those genres, but I think there's a considerable amount of noise, negative noise, that's going to be brewing when the reviews come out. And I think a lot of people may not give it a chance, other than those hardcore types, the Destiny types that are looking forward to it. But I wish them all the success. But I can see it right now. Rocksteady going to be like, okay, we're going back to boom, Batman. I have a story teaser at the end of like, hey, you know what, we're going to go back to the Arkham games somehow. Because I think this industry, and we'll talk about it shortly, being risk averse is perhaps understandable, considering all these. It's a scary world out there for game development across the board. So taking less risks, going back to what it's probably why Naughty Dog is released. To the last two games it released are remakes and remasters. But yeah, we'll see about that game. But so far, it's not looking good. Before we go on to the next topic, 43 minutes in, let's read these super chats. First of all, very controversial one. €6 from Mattel. This is big up Gaz and panel. See Iron Lords now hang out in bed with Zionists. Neil and Colin, shame on them. Well, look, I'm not going to come after Iron Lords, but I did see King David with freaking with the enemy with Neil Druckmann. To be fair, King David has always been a fan of Neil Druckmann. He said Last of Us 2 was one of the most favorite games ever. And you call me a pony bot? Nah, of course he's entitled to his view on The Last of Us. But the Zionism stuff I won't talk about here. I don't think it's appropriate. You know my views on it, and maybe on my personal.
Do you guys like the roguelike mode, the no return?
I haven't tried it.
I haven't either. That I was wondering if y'all had any thoughts, but I mean, it looks cool, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
I've got it. I've downloaded it. I have got the upgrade, so I'm ready to try the roguelike. But typically, I do not like roguelikes as a mechanism. Like roguelikes and Metroidvanias, it's efficient development to get you to repeat the same things over and over again. But I'm actually really upset that God of War Ragnarok Valhalla's DLC, or it's free, so whatever you want to call it, it's downloadable content, and it locks significant storytelling behind a roguelike mode that I don't enjoy. So even though it's free, I'm a little bit irked. I'm like, come on, let me have some proper linear storytelling gameplay. Don't make me go through the same area and hear Mimir again and again and again and again and again. Let me have it told properly. So
to that end,
I'm not enticed.
To that end, I think it's such bogus that they didn't redo those like they didn't finish those levels. Like they're like, oh, as part of the remastered collection, you get these levels that we didn't finish. But you didn't finish them for the remaster? Like what? What is the point of that? Like they're like, yeah, we just threw in this trash that we didn't finish for so it's worth more money. Like what? It would make sense if you put it's like the Snyder cut. Like you put more movie in the movie, and then the movie is longer and there's more. Like they're like, oh yeah, we had these levels that we didn't bother to finish, and we didn't do any more work on it. But here, you can play them. They're real janky. Like, finish them for the remaster. Like, I don't understand. How is that a selling point?
Please tell me they actually inserted them into the game as well. So you're playing along 1 minute and then you go into a room where there's no textures and lighting. And you're just like, hang about.
That would have made sense, right? If they finished them and then they're like, do you want to play the original or do you want to play the like whatever? And they could be like, this isn't the director intended way, but this is like the alternative way with these extra scenes that you can play in the remaster. They told like the fact that they couldn't put in the effort to finish those. Like just like it's just like here's my garbage, like just and then people are like, oh, it's a really cool window into game development. It's like I don't care about your shit that you didn't finish. Like I don't like I know that there's stuff that you cut. I don't with Bloodborne it was really cool because I was like going and fighting bosses that like didn't exist or whatever, like some guy like found the challenge dungeon or whatever. And when you put it into a 70 or whatever however much money dollar remaster for me to buy, and you're like, yeah, we put in the shit we didn't finish. It's ridiculous.
Oh man, you're gonna see a lot more of that. I think they've milked, like someone in the chat said, they milked it dry. They really this is the thing that you need to be. PlayStation guys need to put pressure on PlayStation, but they don't. They really don't. I'm sorry, PlayStation guys do not put pressure on PlayStation to become weird. And I don't know, it's Alex getting it from some weirdo who always just talks shit. And he said make PlayStation weird again. And it wasn't just his sentiment. It's been my sentiment for a while. It's been Richard Hogue sentiment as well for a while, and loads of other people. And that kind of thing is really frustrating. It would annoy me as well. If something like Halo did that. Champagne Supernova, shout out to you, man. With the $2 super chat goes, Craftopia was better than Tears of the Craftopia came out before Tears of the Kingdom, can't talk, crickets from Nintendo. And then there's always this kind of like, there have been multiple kind of derivative copies of games and some selective silence. But as soon as a game does well, Nintendo's like, I guess we can look into it. I understand safeguarding your IP, but let's be real. Nintendo have been absolute dickheads about this, even going after content creators who on YouTube, who basically promote their games for free and demonetizing them. So they have a very backwards attitude towards IP protection as they see it. It's very backwards. I think they've changed that a lot, but there's still the culture still exists. Georgie with a $2 super chat. Xbox is going third party. Phil is a clown snake going to PC. We'll talk about all of that shortly. I feel like I should have read that super chat. I actually intended to later on. But let's see. Light X with a $5 super chat. Gaming media is biased, and Suicide Squad is getting crapped on because it's not what people wanted. For a gas game, it's launching pretty solid. And that kind of leads into what you were saying, Kirk. Like, you know, for a gas game, for people who like gas games, there's enough meat there. Absolutely. It's just not even I'm not massive like the huge like crazy Arkham fan. I need to go down and play. The first Asylum was incredible. I remember playing years ago when it came out, and I need to finish the others. And I'm not this massive like hardcore enthusiast, like strict purist. So I was looking forward to enjoying, because gameplay looked like my kind of stuff. Focus on traversal. You know, the combat looked like fast and fluid and snappy. It looked like it, and ended up playing it. It wasn't the same, but you know, so I can see this game being very divisive. But you're right, chat. Sorry, Light sorry. Who? Yeah, you're right. Like, look, if you're enjoying it, don't let. There's enough meat for everyone. Not everyone's tastes have to align with everyone, and everyone will have their own view on things. So I did feel like a lot of people reached out to me in earnest to say, hey, guys, this is a really good game. And they were obviously annoyed at all this negativity pouring into the game that they really enjoyed and they were playing. And I don't want to be a dick. I don't think we should really go out of our way to piss on people's cornflakes if they're enjoying it. Stop talking about meat, says Golden Arms. And maybe you're right. Blaze 4K with a $10 super chat. Send me a hat, you prick. I will send you a hat. Which hat is he talking? He's talking about this one. Why is he talking about this one? You'll find out in the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. So we've got that Edge reviews came out, by the way, and Edge reviews. I don't think a lot of you guys are US folks, so you won't understand the value of Edge for a lot of UK people. So I guess I'll skip that. But they gave their reviews out, and I've always respected Edge for their reviews. Sometimes, obviously, not always. Depends on who the reviewer is. But they gave the finals an 8, Prince of Persia an 8, Asgard's Wrath a 6, Asa, and some other games I've even heard of, like Go Mecha Ball. Raindrop Sprinters got an 8. What the hell is Raindrop Sprint? I don't even know what that is. But here we go. Yeah, we'll find out. Shout out to almost 500 of you in the chat. Smash that like button. You love hearing me say that. Before we get to the big crazy one, we have to talk about this game. There's also looking like I have no idea about this game. But I want to talk about Dragon's Dogma. Dragon's Dogma had some like previews come out. I've never played a Dragon's Dogma game. And it was actually IGN's preview I was reading just before we came on, and it seems like some big epic game based on all player choice, and it could mean something. It could be, it's almost like Diablo vibes. Kirk, have you played Dragon's Dogma? Are you hyped about Dragon's Dogma? Should we be hyped about Dragon's Dogma? Fon says, play it, guys. I love it. What do you think about Dragon's Dogma? Is this going to be the next big Elden Ring?
So, no, it's not going to be the next big Elden Ring. I've played a little bit of Dragon's Dogma on my Switch, not a ton of it. Am I hyped about it? No. Should I be hyped about it? Probably. I probably should, because what I will say is the people out there that like Dragon's Dogma, they're like, you know, those people that like won't shut up about like wanting you to watch Breaking Bad or like a show like that. You know, like that's who those people are. Like they are like, it's like a dragon. It's like a dragon right now. Like everybody's like, oh my god, you have to play like a dragon. Like Dragon's Dogma is coincidentally they both have dragon in the name. Dragon's Dogma is one of those games where the people who have played it, like they seem so affected by it, and they are so connected to that franchise. And I just wonder. So I think that this is not something to sleep on, is what I'm intending to say. But I do just wonder if like this is a sequel to a game that was really, really potent during like that PS3 type of era. And if the game, again, we talked about game evolution, right? Like with Pokemon and things that like don't necessarily evolve that much. If the game hasn't really evolved, I think those hardcore fans are going to be very, very happy with the game because it's exactly what they want. But I don't know that it's going to in a post Baldur's Gate, post Dragon Age Inquisition even type of world. I don't know if people are going to be blown away by that type of game. The Witcher 3 as well. I think it's going to be maybe more comparable to like an Obsidian type RPG. Like it's going to be a little bit more niche, I think. And the people that are going to love it are going to love it. But I don't really know what to expect with this one. I think that's what I'm going to be paying attention to when the reviews and the discourse come out is like, is this just an amazing Dragon's Dogma game, or is it an amazing RPG like for all time? Because it's going to be one of those two things. Like in no way am I suggesting this game will be bad. It won't be. Like Capcom will deliver on this game for the people who want it. The question is it gonna like, is the discourse gonna go outward and outward and outward, and it's gonna blow up because people are like, wow, this is a really amazing RPG. I don't know. I would love that. That'd be awesome. I'd love to play another fantastic RPG in this sort of medieval fantasy style with dragons and stuff. So I'm definitely rooting for it. My hype meter is like very lukewarm, but if I start seeing some dope stuff about it, you bet I'm gonna play it. So yeah, I mean, cheers to Capcom if they can really make a big splash with it.
Yeah, no, I don't know much about it. So as you're talking about it, I'm seeing the gameplay on stream, and it just looks so good. It just actually looks beautiful to me. And I've never heard of the Dragon Dogmas game. I've known of them, but I've never played them. But a lot of people are talking about this being a Game of the Year contender already, and a solid one at that. So we'll see if it's one of those purists who are really happy with it. Perhaps a lot of people who haven't tried it because of whatever reason may still find an affinity with it. Like Armored Core, for instance. Armored Core, a lot of people didn't know about, have never played it. And having played last year's one, which was absolutely fucking beautiful, incredible game, a lot of people sold really well as well on Steam, which is incredible. I was really happy to see that. But Asa, do you think, what do you think about Dragon's Dogma? Do you think it's going to be the next zeitgeist? We keep using that word. But do you think it'll be a significant release?
It's going to be massive, I think. Yeah, Zeitgeist, I'm not sure if it's going to hit the same sphere of influence as that, but it's going to be massively successful, I think. It looks incredible to me. It looks like you can say a breath of fresh air to like overuse another phrase that comes up too often, but in the way that Elden Ring was refreshing because everyone had played RPGs and had played high fantasy games and knew exactly how those kind of worked. And then this game comes around, okay, so it's got souls on its back for Elden Ring, but it came around and just kind of refreshed what that genre can be in a way that had ripples. And you play a Ubisoft game now and you have all of these options to turn the interface off and not let it tell you where quests are. And you can see that's the impact that Elden Ring had on the industry, because fans loved it and developers looked how they could take inspiration from it. Dragon's Dogma has always been about kind of emergent gameplay and overlapping systems in the way that we talk about Skyrim, right? It's very different in terms of what kind of systems. Skyrim's got like all kinds of loot tables and AI behaviors, but Dragon's Dogma is very dynamic and very much the focus of it is emergent gameplay. And if you play open world games from Ubisoft, or like the Horizon games, a good example, where everything is beautifully curated, but very clearly curated around the player. You look at Dragon's Dogma and everything is just happening. Villagers are doing their things, your pawns are doing their things. You can choose to play a class that doesn't attack your enemy at all. That's just like a buff and diversionary class. It's doing weird things that are not what we're familiar with, and it also looks gorgeous because Capcom are just on fire with that gaming engine at the moment. So I think absolutely at least a contender for Game of the Year next year. Obviously, I've not played it, and this could turn out a disastrous prediction. It could come out and be awful, but I'm anticipating really big things, really good things from it.
That sounds really good. No wonder Fonz likes it. Fonz, you being a fan of Baldur's Gate, sounds like it has all the things that you liked about it as well.
That's one thing I wouldn't say. So Baldur's Gate, though, like the story and the choice and consequence and stuff is like front and center there in the way that you might expect from Avowed. I don't think dialogue and like spoken choice is necessarily the feature of Dragon's Dogma. It's more like the
combat dynamism or the world.
It's got dynamic combat. It's got a lot of freedom of choice in how you approach any encounters, I would think, but it's more in the way that, and this is a terrible example, but you know how Sea of Thieves didn't have much structure to it? You'd go into Sea of Thieves and people would have fun because just shit would happen that you didn't expect. That's what I think Dragon's Dogma is going to bring into open world RPG.
That's amazing. I love that shit. I love that shit so much. That kind of dynamism in a game world. And I've never tried it. This could be something I really, and I have no idea what to expect. But you explained that really well, actually.
Hey, so
it doesn't.
is it? Would you, if I said it was sort of like taking the world and RPG-ness and gameplay of something like The Witcher 3 and combining that with the build creativity and depth of something like a Diablo 4? Is that kind of like what we're approaching here in terms of systems?
Because Diablo 4 hasn't got any of that. It sucks.
Okay. Okay. So this is
I'm joking.
This is
I don't
beyond
particularly
that.
like Diablo 4, but no, it's The Witcher 3 is a good comparison point, because that obviously that revolutionized in its own way the way that we approach open world quest design, and a lot of the industry is still holding that as the golden standard and trying to catch up to what The Witcher 3 did. Final Fantasy Rebirth is coming out, and the developers have cited that The Witcher 3 is their inspiration for world and quest design. But that is still curated. Everything is still placed by hand, doing what it's supposed to do when it's supposed to do it when you get there. That's fine. That's not a criticism. But in Dragon's Dogma, I get the impression that a giant ogre might be there when you pass through, or it might not. Right? They're doing their own thing, and you're just in that world, which I'm excited about. So.
No, I'm very excited. Fonz is saying it's the combat
Sold
and exploration.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, absolutely. I might actually really fall in love with this game. It has the all the trappings for it. We've got Blaze in the chat. Ignore him. He says, "I leaked your logo." He's talking about something else that he did on Twitter. Thank you for that, Blaze, you piece of shit. And Champagne Supernova, well, thank you with the $5 Australian. A little bit off topic. Why is it pronounced Asa and not Asa? Hey, good question. Like Asa Akira.
I wonder why.
Asa Akira is exactly what I called him when I first met him. When is Asa After Dark taking his context to the next level? I'm sorry, he's not going to be Asa Akira. We all know who that is, right? For scientific purposes. Asa, do you want to answer that question?
I can't answer that question. Do you know why your name is pronounced the way that it is? It just is. It's been my name my whole life. I really don't know.
In my notes here on timestamps was written 59 minutes, Asa Akira. Thanks for that super chat. Yeah, so I think it was Matthias, sorry, in the chat, Matthaus, you asked this good question, and I'm going to actually introduce it as a topic as well. Xbox apparently is supposedly going all digital. So the rumor suggesting that, you know, they're shelving as part of this whole crazy debacle with the layoffs. And I forgive me, where did this come out? Maybe I think it was Jess Corden who was saying that a lot of teams that dealt with it were being shelved. So Xbox going all digital, and you know they're complete. And this double backs off at a previous rumor or last week as well, or news that they were. Oh no, I think it was Hellblade is not getting a physical release, and it seems like the industry, which
Hellblade 1 didn't either, so
absolutely.
I didn't think that was big news at all. But yeah,
because it didn't. After a year, it got a special on disc collector's or whatever edition. They got a physical release, and a lot of people have asked me about this. And when the news broke, I don't care. I've always pissed people off in the physical space by hashtagging forever digital, because, and I'm sorry, but apart from like some people like Mo. Shout out to Mo. People who like the physical, and I know people like the physical games. I don't give a shit. I've been mostly digital for years now. What happens in the people are like, oh, how are you going to do? And I get it. Options are good. It's I guess, and less options bad, and it's negative. But most people, like 90% of people, or even higher, 95% or whatever, probably end up buying apart from some regions, buy digital anyway. And to me, it's like, so what? It's a nothing burger. It's the industry evolving. The PC space does not do physical. So why should we care? I will embrace it. I don't care, but those are my personal opinions, and I may be neglecting to think about the equity of this and the injustice about it. So perhaps, Kirkland, could you offer your opinion? Am I being wrong in thinking this and being overtly dismissive about this? I don't give a shit. What do you think?
I think so, to a marginal degree. I think it's okay to like, I think that it's very valid for you to say, hey, this is the way they're going to move, and it is what it is. Like, that's just the truth. We've seen all the writing on the wall for that. The important thing is that we don't want you to leave us, the people that have physical media, which you're saying for a while now you've been accruing a digital library pretty much exclusively. We don't want you to leave us hang out to dry. We want you to be with us in the chorus of people that says, hey, Xbox, Microsoft, or PlayStation, whoever we're talking to, for a long time, you put out physical games that we bought, that we spent our hard-earned money on. And now there is a precedent that in the industry that hardware console makers allow us to carry that library over. As you see, I have PS4 and then PS5. My PS4 copy of Elden Ring works as a PS5 game if I put it in my PS5. Like, that is something that they've established is a convenience that we're going to be able to have. That's a norm now. We expect that. And we like that. We want to retain that. So if that's the case, if you've had us buy all these games and then now you've given us the expectation that we can carry that library forward, if you now all of a sudden drop the axe and say, oh, the next console that we make, all that stuff that you own, there's no way to put that disc in our console, that's going to be a problem. And we want you to be vocal about that being a problem. You know, now maybe they'll do something scummy and they'll do a digital console that costs $500. Let's like come up worst case scenario. They have an all digital console that costs $500 because it's super powerful and whatever. It's like a PC or like whatever. And then you can buy like $100, you know, physical hardware add-on disk drive that will work with it. Fine, whatever. It's scummy, but like it is a way. It is a way for me to take that game right there, put it in your new thing and make it work rather than having to go out and buy. I mean, there's people who literally just have all physical. Like, that's all they buy. Yeah. And like, to think about how many hundreds of dollars that would be that they would have to repurchase those games. I mean, that's insane. So even if it's inconvenient, they've got to give people a way to play those games. Unless they just cut off backwards compatibility altogether, which would suck. They should not do that at all.
No, that they can't. They shouldn't do. It is digital game preservation is the thing. They shouldn't really do that.
Yeah. But assuming that they will have backwards compatibility, I think that there needs to be parity there between physical and digital backwards compatibility. Now, if you don't want to release any more physical games, fine. Whatever. I mean, again, I don't support it. I want there to be physical media forever. But like, we can't make, you know, Remedy put out a physical Alan Wake 2. If they don't want to, they don't want to. We can cry and whine as much as we want on the internet. If they just don't see the advantages for that business-wise, they're not going to do it. And if Xbox doesn't see the advantage of putting out first-party games, or PlayStation doesn't see the advantage of putting out first-party games in a physical format, they're not going to do that. And it does seem that we're trending towards that as an eventuality in the next 5 to 10 years. The games that you already sold to me, I just want to make sure that I can make those work in whatever console you're going to be making henceforth. That's all I care about. And if they can't do that for us, that's a huge problem. The other stuff, that it's concessions that I think us as the consumers are going to have to make in a growing, increasingly digital age. But if they rip the rug out from under us and say, oh, all those physical games that you bought that we sold you over the last 10 years or so, those are worthless now, unless, better stick with your PS5 because they're not going to work in the all digital PS6 or whatever. That would be bullcrap. And I really, really hope that they don't do that. That's my main concern. And I think that's why people get like a little bit unnerved when you're like, I don't care, digital forever. They want to make sure that you would call that out and be like, no, this is not good. Like, I may have an all digital library, but there's people who have a lot of physical, and you're screwing them over, and that's not okay. We would hope that you would acknowledge that, I guess.
Yeah, no, there are definitely two sides to that story as well. Before I get your views, Asa, I just want to read Cole Eastwood's super chat. Shout out to you with a $5 super chat, because I believe that disc-based medium has gone out of fashion since the mid-2010s. Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo have an all-digital console. And to be honest, actually, I got cousins all the way in Pakistan, and they don't have, it's not exactly the most developed country, and they have bloody power cuts every 5 minutes. But a lot of my cousins, they're all digital, very rarely physical. But I guess different horses for courses. Asa, I'm reminded of your wisdom when it comes to this topic. And the main thing I see with this is a big net positive potentially, in that the scaling as far as pricing is concerned. What's your take on it anyway?
That is a part of it. I've always for freaking ages said that I would like physical and digital prices to be decoupled so that we're not stuck with $70 as a retail price or whatever it may be, because that is at the very least it's blamed on the physical market to an extent, and there is some truth to it because there are distribution costs that kind of dictate what a price can and can't be and what's realistic. More so on this though, I am all digital. The last physical game that I bought was Rise Son of Rome when I bought an Xbox One, because I knew it was only going to be played once and I wanted something to play when I got my Xbox home. This was in the days where it would take a couple of nights to download something. So the last disc that I bought was a launch game for the Xbox One to make sure I had something to play when I got it out at home, right?
Yeah.
But like I say about online-only games and things like that, I'm not in favor of corporations taking more control without giving us something in return. So what makes me uncomfortable is that you go into an all-digital future, you are categorically given, like Microsoft, Sony, whoever it may be, your platform holder more control over your library. Even though I volunteered that in a way, you're taking away your ability to keep some control and to retain those discs. And we're not actually getting anything in return. So I'm never in favor. If they give me a tangible benefit, if they're like, your consoles are cheaper now, your games are cheaper now, like anything, just give me anything in return for this. But otherwise, no, I'll keep my options open, thanks. And I say that as someone who is entirely digital. I don't get anything physical. I respect that people do. I think physical games should probably be more expensive than digital ones, and often you'd ask for digital games to be cheaper. That's like the sensible consumer approach. I think more realistically, physical games will be more expensive, but I'm okay with that. That seems reasonable in terms of distribution challenges. I don't want the option to go away completely unless I really get something significant in return.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head there. And it's the right mindset to have. At least give us something. And there's all this weird inequity, if you call it, on the PC space, where they've always had very dynamic digital pricing. So why have physical coupled with digital on the console space? It seems like they just extract console guys just get the shit just taking abused all the time for the we have the least. Well, I get it. There's a entry cost associated with PC, but we pay for online for no reason because they could just milk us for that. And it's just like they pay full price even on digital copy, 70 quid. It makes no sense. They're just squeezing you. So let's see how they handle it. I don't give a shit. Some people are like, oh, this is a big loss. I get it. But your take was succinct. It was actually really good. Let's see what happens there. The thumbnail of this stream is Avowed and Indiana Jones. So this is my desperate attempt to try and make it relevant to the stream. But I will say this is what made us, made Kirkland so famous for this week, was your talk about Indiana Jones and Avowed, and why, you talk about exclusivity. Now, should I go into? Well, I'll park this. Yeah. I'll decouple this from the crazy topic of the layoffs and what's happened. More fuel to the fire on the third-party stuff. I've said it's happening, and whether you believe me or not, we will find out soon enough. And I'm vehemently against it. Looks like Hi-Fi Rush. This is not based on this, but you had Jez Gordon, because me and him have been talking about our own independent sources on what we're hearing, and he's now bold enough to say that this is definitely happening. No matter how much copium and hopium Xbox fans will have, it's happening in one way, shape, or form. Hi-Fi Rush on PlayStation. It's going to be a thing. And you, Kirkland, you, sir, sitting there with a chap who I forgot who was crying when Phil Spencer came on stage and he really wanted Final Fantasy on Xbox.
Ginger Prime.
Ginger Prime, yeah.
I get why people give him crap about that.
I don't give him crap for that. I did initially.
He's such a nice guy.
He is a nice guy. I don't want to be a dick to him.
So I don't know.
We can be a dick to Ernest Alex. It's fine. He's used to
it. Yes, we can definitely. That was a wild show. But yeah, no, Brian's a good guy. He just really cares about that game, and that the way because I asked him about it before I even started, because I do a podcast with him every other Monday, and I was like, bro, what was up with that? Before I started doing the podcast, I was like, hey, I saw there's a clip of you crying. And he was like, "Hey, I was like, because I'm about to start doing a weekly show or a bi-weekly show with you." And he's like, "Yeah, I've been covering that game for 10 years almost, so it's a decade in the making, and I'm such an Xbox guy, and so that was like a big deal for me. So I mean, I get it. I think that there would be things that I would care that much about, maybe if they, I don't know, if they announced like some crazy game and some I don't know. I don't think I would cry, but if like they made like a Sly 4, like that would be dope. So like stuff like that. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. I wish people wouldn't use that as like.
I just want to don't want to interrupt you. This I thought this was a friend of mine in Super Chat because he always makes these weird comparisons. But guess what? It is the God of War creator and Twisted Metal creator David Jaffe who says, "Dude, you've got Elijah Wood on the show. Fucking sweet. You're growing so big. Congratulations, sir." Fucking David Jaffe.
Yeah, I just walked over from the Shire.
Do you get that? Do you get that? Did you get Elijah Wood? Have you got that before? Please tell me yes.
No, not at all. But I think it's the headset. The headset's like slicking my hair back, So yeah. No, I've never heard that one, but that's funny. Have you seen that clip of him where it's like, "Do you wear wigs? When will you wear wigs?" Oh, you gotta look it up. It's so good.
I need to look it up. Oh shit. So sorry, Elijah. What were you saying? Sorry, Kirk. What were you saying?
I was just defending my friend Brian, but that's my piece. But no. Yeah, I was dunking on them because well, I mean, they were saying what apparently you agree with, which is that Xbox is gonna take all their IP and become a third party. I guess the different
IP.
Okay. That's what they were saying. So I'm glad that we're in agreement. I agree. Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush, that's happening, and that's a smart business move because those aren't like prolific IP. But they were saying like in regard to like Indiana Jones, it's stuff like that. Like all that's going to come to PlayStation because Xbox is basically going to become Sega, and like that somehow that's going to make them more money or they're going to be more successful like that. And I was like, no, that's ridiculous. Like that is the biggest L that they could possibly take. So yeah, that's what we were talking
Prime was
about.
defending Redfall. That pissed me off so much. I'm like, it's not so bad. It's a shit game. And if I go,
he said it with a 7. He said it with a 7, and then I busted out laughing.
Fuck that 7. Fuck that 7.
Yeah.
That 7 should be a 3. I will play it again if you make me do it.
It's better now. It's like a 5. It's like a 5.
Is it better now? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. And if I swear to God, if the AI is still shit and the text is still not loading and the fucking game sucks, I'm gonna come after you guys so bad. Don't piss me off to play that game, then I will shit on it all over again. But yeah, look, Indiana Jones and Avowed, like these games. Look, Xbox's strategy is this: they're gonna release some games on other platforms.
Yes.
Do you know? And I got the receipts. I got the receipts for all the people who came at me and all saying, "This is fucking conjecture. What's your sources? Bollocks, yeah." The moment, part of me, even though most of me does not want this to happen, part of me does want it to happen so I can fuck these guys up so hard who are so boldly talking bullshit that this won't happen. I want to see the smoke when Hi-Fi Rush, I get it. Look, it's a more of a niche game, action beat rhythm game. It's not exactly the be-all end-all. But what makes it so bad and egregious, if that comes to PlayStation, is the fact that Xbox didn't even have like a brand new IP they could tout proudly anyway. And the first one that comes in that Xbox guys hold up, which PlayStation guys ridiculed forever, comes to PlayStation. That comes in, and I've got iron laws to say, if that comes to PlayStation, it's a fucking piss take. I don't want these guys to scream pony bot to defend it. They should be out there with the pitchforks. First of all, they should kiss my feet and then get their pitchforks out and then stab, not literally, or slap Satya Nadella's bald head because it's all from Satya Nadella. It's him. This bullshit is coming from him. There's a full-on beef right now. Satya Nadella is trying to make this more profitable. These cuts, all of this stuff is coming from a cutthroat attitude of we need to get his bonuses up or whatever, make it more profitable. He does, and Asa doesn't agree with me because he's just like, oh, kumbaya, my lord. This is a fuckery if it happens. There'll be some games, it'll be whatever the messaging is, but oh my God, you put that in there, there's going to be pandemonium, pony pandemonium in favor of the ponies. I will be there front lines taking a shit on Xbox, fully taking.
Why is that bad though? For Hi-Fi Rush? Like that, Hi-Fi Rush is not a big deal. Like I see Hi-Fi Rush going to PlayStation as the same as like Stray coming to Xbox. Like these are not like super high profile games.
But okay,
but like Starfield's not coming to PlayStation.
How are you going to deal with the messaging of that? How is Phil and Co going to announce this thing? Because
it's like a little indie game.
if they say Hi-Fi Rush is an outlier, we're doing this as just this one game, but we understand and value. And then Phil Spencer's quote of we're not a third-party publisher. If you fucking put this in there, I will take that clip, Phil Spencer. I'll put it in you.
Is he having a seizure, Asa? Is he having a seizure live? No. We totally agree on this, and that's what that clip was about. Is me being like, they've got to. Xbox has to get their shit together on the messaging because they're all over the place. Like Phil's like, we're all about getting exclusives for our Xbox gamers. That's what buying Bethesda was about, and we know that we have to have exclusives to compete with PlayStation. To Satya Nadella going, oh, we're gonna be a great publisher. We're gonna be a great publisher for PlayStation.
That's like, right.
Just tell us what you're gonna do. Like, if you're gonna put like the bull crap, like, you know, second tier stuff like Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush. Sorry, I didn't think Hi-Fi Rush was a Game of the Year contender. I thought it was like like average to above average. It's a good game. I'm glad it was on Game Pass. Like it's good. Like if you're gonna put that stuff, Sea of Thieves is good too. I'm just saying upper echelon stuff like Indiana Jones. That's what I said on the other podcast. I said they should hold on to it for dear life. And Starfield, they should hold on to it for dear life. But the reason we're having all this discourse is because they won't just be like, stuff that we consider high profile, like Starfield and Indiana Jones, will stay on Xbox. And then other stuff, like that is a little more, that we think has broad-ranging appeal and that wouldn't damage our brand by putting on the other platforms, will probably go on all platforms. That's all you have to say! That's all you have to say!
Like, will they say it? Because, you know, Satya Nadella's like, if you want competition, let us have competition. And then he fucking does this, and he talks about all these vagaries. I'm not going to sit there and take it, no matter how alienated I get from the hardcore Xbox fans, because you know that those guys who cap for it are disingenuous as fuck. Because for me, this is just a slippery slope, and more games will come. And the messaging. How are you going to handle it? Kirk, it's all about the messaging.
Yes.
I don't know how they're going to handle that, but their messaging has been dog shit. And especially after this this fiasco, which was we'll talk about now. That was, well, before we do, we'll have to get your, and I know what Ace is going to say, before we do the BG super chat. Why is this Dr. Octopus speaking? Where is Gaz? Hello, Peter, looking ass. I by the way, I didn't mention it. Oh, I didn't.
Hello, Peter.
You did that very well. I've got vertigo. I probably have Meniere's. I'm getting diagnosed for it, but I've got pretty bad tinnitus and vertigo, which has really fucked up my content creation plans. It's the reason why I get to do something. I have to stop, but hopefully get that treated and get my shit sorted. It's not me just wearing $1,000 shades just to fucking style, although it does look nice. But yeah, Asa, I know what you're going to say about this. Okay, just humor me, okay? Look, I get where you sit on this fence. It's good for the competition. And I don't know, fuck your fucking analogy of, last time we spoke about this, when I went to your fucking wise sage at the cinema, when I went to him, he said, you know who the fucking competitor is of the cinema? It's Blockbusters. It's the kid who's playing fucking yo-yos. Fuck you. No, listen, Asa, I know your point. I get it, whatever. I disagree with you. What's your take on the messaging? If Hi-Fi Rush do you think Xbox should just plop it out there and this is coming to PlayStation? They'd probably be announced at a PlayStation event. Boom, Hi-Fi Rush is in the sizzle reel.
Oh, God.
You think that's okay? Like, humor me.
I'm on the other end of it with everybody, where everybody, if you're saying, like, do you want to be told the truth or do you want to be lied to? Everybody thinks they want to be told the truth. So, of course, I want them to be transparent and I want to know what's happening. It's not necessarily in their best interest to do that whatsoever, especially not if the truth is not what you want to hear, right? So, and especially if that truth like locks them into a course of action that they're not necessarily wanting to be locked into. So that's my take on messaging, really. Like, of course I want them to tell me the truth and I want to know what's happening all the time. So then I can make best judgments on where I want to be and what I want to play. That's not real life though. You don't always get the truth.
Oh man, I get it. I get the idea of not locking yourself off because this doesn't have to be fixed. But the problem is, Asa, they have told what would potentially be seen as lies.
They're mixed messaging and they're back and forth, and the silver tongue has pissed me off for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. I agree with Asa that like to be tight-lipped is smart. Like, to not divulge, they don't know where I'm going to move next. Like, that is smart, because then you can do whatever is in your best interest. But what they've done, Gaz, right? Back me up on this, is they've said both. They've said, oh, we're going to, like, keep everything exclusive, to in furtherance of the Xbox brand, and then they come out and they say, oh, we're basically going to be third party. It can't be both. So now they have to improve their messaging, because they went and said all of it. Like, it's fine if you don't say anything and you're very tight-lipped like a Nintendo, and you're just like, oh, you want Wind Waker remastered on Switch? Well, we're never going to say anything about that ever for 10 years. Like, that's fine. Like, if they want to do that, that's their prerogative. It's not fine, obviously, but in the way that Ace is talking about, it makes sense for them. But it doesn't make any sense to have two messages going at the exact same time of exclusives are very important to us, and that's why we went out and bought all these studios, Ninja Theory and everything at Bethesda, and I don't even know, the Psychonauts studio, like all these studios that we bought, so that we would have all this IP on Xbox for Xbox gamers to feel like the console that they own, it has inherent value, because we're going to bring all these games and they're going to be a part of Game Pass, and it's a huge value proposition. Oh, just kidding. Actually, we want to be a big publisher and put our games everywhere. Like, which one is it? Like, you have to clarify now, because you've said every message under the sun about this. You've got to clarify what your business model is.
But I'm 100% with you, because they have said everything. And this goes for like when Sony and Jim Ryan said bullshit that he contradicted later on. I was on this case on the whole we believe in generations, all that bollocks that didn't age well.
Oh, yeah, that was awful. Yeah.
So why? And right now you've got freaking Satya Nadella's shiny head going around doing all these interviews, saying all of this like a PlayStation expressly. And then he mentions fucking Xbox at the end of his sentence. I'm like, are you serious? You're taking the piss. So I don't have faith. Big Bad Mo says, are there Xbox games on other platforms? Yes or no? I think this is just going to be a massive load of copium. I have until it gets announced, until it gets formally announced. I get it. You guys are thinking these guys are probably talking bollocks, but Hi-Fi Rush comes to PlayStation. You know what? I want to do a fucking poll. Yeah. He said, do you have access to I'm going to do it on Chrome. I don't want to kill the stream by mistake. I'm going to do a poll. I don't think doing a poll will kill the stream. I'm going to do a poll, and you guys need to be honest, yeah? If Hi-Fi Rush, I want to find the thing. If Hi-Fi Rush comes to PlayStation, will you be... This is for Xbox gamers. I know a lot of ponies will probably troll vote there. If Hi-Fi Rush comes to PS5, is this a problem? Is this...
do you reckon... and this is like, it's a difficult question to answer. Like, we can't answer it fully, but do you reckon, if you take into account like benefits to Game Pass and all the rest of it, do you reckon Hi-Fi Rush has made back any of its budget or much of it? Is it a profitable game right now?
I don't know. They said it exceeded their expectations initially, but I think the sales would have teetered down massively. And it's probably a good candidate for... It's not going to hurt Xbox fans, this one game, because this is where everyone's like saying, this is a bit of an outlier.
Well, the thing is, Gaz, it's got to go to Switch. Like, come on. Switch, everybody wants this game on Switch. So why wouldn't they put it on PlayStation if they're going to put it on Switch?
It's their it was their primary competitor. Switch is in its own lane. Switch even suits it to many degrees, and they've been touching tips for a while with the Nintendo Switch guys. I still maintain there should be a little bit of quid pro quo here, with a little bit of give us something and we'll tickle your balls. But there's none of that tickling happening as far as I'm aware. But I don't care. I've said this on iLoad Show. I've said it before. I don't mind if it's on Nintendo, but if it's on PlayStation, man, it's a fuckery. I get it. This will be the beginning of it all. How you're going to deal with the messaging is going to be incredible, because if you put one in there and without messaging, it's going to be like, right, what next? And I'm going to be hearing from the PlayStation, and it's a valid thing. It's not just console warring thing. It's just like, well, what's next? And I'm telling you, the industry's telling me to just go get a PC anyway. Like, it's just telling go back to PC. It is a...
I agree. I agree. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with Hi-Fi Rush coming to Switch and PlayStation. If it was only going to PlayStation, yeah, that would be effery. But like if they're either taking it to all platforms or they're not. Like it's only in a console fanboy Warris brain that they're like it's got to go to Switch, but it can't go to PlayStation. That would be the worst. That would be, don't put my Xbox exclusive on PlayStation.
Listen, console wars are serious business, and it's been the lifeblood of this industry. You've had Xbox, whatever exec his name is. What's his name? The really nice guy who worked at Sega. I forgot his name. He had the Halo tattoo. On Peter Moore, that's it. He was just like the console wars are fundamentally important as marketing, but they're just spitting in the face of Xbox guys if they do this. BG in the chat, if you're there, I know you would agree with me. I think it's bullshit. Hi-Fi Rush might not even sell that much. Hi-Fi, look, again, massive disclaimer: it hasn't been announced. I'm saying it's going to happen. But if it does, it's going to be an absolute shit show. And
yeah, if they do it with Psychonauts 2, okay. But I think Hi-Fi Rush is different. I do, especially because it comes from a third party. I mean, they're not third party because they're under Bethesda, but they were third party. Like Evil Within 1 and 2 are like everywhere. Like there's a norm for this studio to put out, cross-party games. Psychonauts 2 was like gonna be an Xbox exclusive. Like that was like the whole deal. So like if they take games like that and put them everywhere, I would understand. But I don't see any problem with taking Tango's very indie looking game on a bunch of other platforms. I want that for Tango. Like I want them to get a bunch more money so they can make Hi-Fi Rush 2. Like that would be dope. So I don't know.
It's also like Hi-Fi Rush in particular was being made for PlayStation before the acquisition. All of its budgeting and everything around that game was with PlayStation sales in mind, so it's not like, so what?
Just like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo
say that.
as well.
Then say that. Look, we have. This is the only thing saving grace with Hi-Fi Rush. But I don't think it's just Hi-Fi Rush. By the way, I think this is going to be something you're going to start seeing more of. But with Hi-Fi Rush, if they said, "Look, we have," they wish they had versions on PlayStation. Why not get it out there? The seals are taken off more money, but they have to say it. The messaging gets so tricky anyway. Either way, they have to deal with the messaging. How they're going to do that, I have no idea, and reconcile the previous content. You've got Sarah Bond on stage because, and yes, it's exclusive. Everyone at Xbox is going to become a villain, and I'm going to treat them like.
You know what's a little bit fun? A little bit fun about like getting all angry that they're saying too many different things in too many places. Like a year ago, 2 years ago, we were the opposite, and we were saying, "Oh, it's really nice that Xbox are talkative, while Sony are all secretive, and they never come onto social media and say anything at all." It's really good that Xbox are talking, and now we're like, "Why did you talk, you bastards?"
Well, tell us that they're talking. And Satya's talking, but he's not talking to gamers. He's talking to freaking MSCNBC and everything. And when PlayStation does talk, but actually, PlayStation Camp are pissed right now that they aren't talking to them. Let's be real. But when they have said something, they've shot themselves in the foot.
Like guys,
the right people are not talking to us. That's the problem. They're talking to other people. It seems like they're maneuvering around it. And I know for a fact they've gone and sent feelers around. And
they seem wise now,
leadership
right?
split. Yeah.
Like Sony seem wise for not talking to us because we're dickheads.
Is Xbox just do they just are they just consistently gonna cock it up? Like is that like because like
welcome to Xbox.
They did so good. They did so good with the 360, and then like the messaging was so bad with the one. Like it was so terrible. That was just like such an incompetent generation. And then they started to finally get it back when they put out the 1X. And then the messaging with the series was, in my opinion at least, so much better than the PlayStation. Like when those two were coming out, like Xbox, I immediately wanted the Xbox because like you've got more opportunities for storage. You've got free upgrades to first party games. You don't have to shell out $10-$20. You know,
Sony was getting pissed at that time.
They were the only ones that had an Elite controller. Like there were so many aspects of that console that were more the backwards compatibility library, guys. Like I can stick an Xbox 360 disc in my Series X. You can't do that with a PS5 to this day, and their backwards compatibility library sucks. There were so many things about Xbox that made it more Game Pass that made it better for consumers, and they've just taken that and just been like, just shove it down the toilet. We just want to lose forever. I mean, like this. What? Why? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's finally shifted like 3 years on. Like, I would rather have a PlayStation. I bought my Xbox first because I wanted an Xbox because of all the things that I just talked about. And right now, in 2024, the year of our Lord, whatever Lord that may be for you, you want a PlayStation over an Xbox, and that sucks. That sucks because, like, how do you have so many things going for you and just continually cock it up for like 15 years, guys? Like, just, oh my God. Like,
I understand that. I stand the frustration so well, Kirk. I understand it so much. I just always wanted to compare to that guy. It's act together. And then when they have a win, they always compromise themselves. And and this is the thing, it's this jostling of, execs. And the problem I feel now is my Xbox and its executives at the time. There felt like there was a separation between Xbox, the brand, and is the little island around Microsoft. And now it's Satya, which ironically, it's what do you happen? Phil Spencer saved the brand. Remember, Satya Nadella was the man who said to Phil Spencer, "There's a future where we're not even in the gaming space. Let's be real." That's what he said. He said that to Phil, and Phil made him double down. Whatever. And Asa, you always said this. You said, what is it that Phil Spencer? Yeah, what was the promise? And it has to be a promise not just based on idealism. It couldn't be Nintendo, like, we're going to make games. It would have to be like, look, there's homogeny with the other elements of Microsoft, the subscription element of it, numbers, engagement, monetization, look at mobile, look at all the things that we may perhaps not have liked. And we've talked about this on the show for a while. And I think that's coming to bear as well, despite the fact that first-party games line up, all of that. You guys have to, you see the overtly negative thing, and we're not shitting on everything. We're just telling you the elements of that we feel are dangerous or are contrary to our interests. And I feel more and more alienated. Like with the PlayStation, I don't even feel catered for, by the way. And that's not being a fanboy. I just don't feel catered for. Let's see if they will become weird and do all the things I want.
I do. I mean, the Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy 15, Silent Hill remake is coming.
You're mentioning third-party exclusivities and money hacking,
but they're making that happen. Xbox isn't making that happen.
I agree. Again, as a policy, and this is why I've said Xbox, Phil Spencer, drop your bullshit kumbaya thing and go back and do money hacking. You did it with Titanfall in a disgusting way, and you did it with Tomb Raider very late, and then you adopted this bullshit policy. If you're going to go back on this, then go back on your third party price money hack and give us some competition. But if you bowed out, and that's the thing, you're bowing out of competition, it's like a concession, then conceding away from it, then fuck that, man. And I'm so annoyed that Sega hasn't got enough money to release a Dreamcast 2 at this stage. I've always viewed it as competition, even though
go give them money. Go give them money so they can.
They're fucking.
Those Like a Dragon games are good, baby. They're real good. Go give them your money. We need another player. We need another player in the space. Come on.
Well, I will give them all the money, Sega, if you promise me you can try. Let me read these super chats before we go crazy. We've got Christian5916 with a $2 super chat. Microsoft should kill the console and make Xbox a PC operating. So get the you piece of shit. No, this is a pony super chat. Joseph Posmic with the NOK50. Hi-Fi Rush was fantastic. I'm more focused on new games, not about old games coming to another platform. Here we go. We are on the fifth stage of grief. Acceptance.
Call up Tim Dog. Where's he at?
Tim Dog is, in a certain way at the moment. Spartan661 with the $5 super chat. I don't mind if Hi-Fi Rush goes to other platforms, but we should get something from them as well. A game that has a high praise and not stupid cat game. Agreed. Not Stray. Dead Planet with a $2. Well, I think Stray is on Xbox now. Overrated in my opinion. I haven't completed it. But, Dead Planet with a $2 super chat. Jez did say others will do this too, not just Xbox. Jez, I guess in saying that isn't based on, by the way, any hard facts that he's got. He's saying that because I think we can all agree that in the future, this notion of exclusivity is probably going to disappear as console war becomes platform wars. I've already embraced my pivot to platform wars. Don't worry. We're gearing up for that because that's where the industry is moving. And shout out to Detective C's gifting 10 freaking memberships. Who got it? You know, the stupid thing is you can't even control who he gives it to the people who've already members. It's so dumb. YouTube, fix your shit, man. Come on, man. But shout out to Detective C's, man. He was wicked on this show. I'm sure he has a lot to say on this, and he did last time. Panic is boss. Thank you for the $2 super chat. So how soon does the AAA domino fall to PlayStation? Panic boss, that's an excellent question. When? No one knows. Nothing's official anyway. But when it does happen, I want to see what happens. Mr. Eldrick, thank you for the £5 super chat. PlayStation will use Hi-Fi Rush money to keep more games off Xbox. Thank you, S. Eldrick, for reminding me about that. That's a little statement of Phil Spencer when he was going out fighting this case, the ABK case. We're going to talk about Activision Blizzard next. In court, he says, well, PlayStation, they use the money that we give, the money that they make from
selling our games,
selling our games on PlayStation. They use it to hurt us and keep the games off Xbox. Good luck with that. If you put you choose and elect to put Hi-Fi Rush on another platform, I will fucking laser you, man. Robbie NH as a member for 7 months. If Microsoft is putting games everywhere, then what's the point of the console? Robbie, good question. They're just diluting the Xbox brand. The console market isn't dead yet. It isn't dead yet. The dilution of the brand and the value proposition of that box is something I've been harping on about for ages. I was against the PC thing day and date. I was against it. You might say it was a console warrior in me. And it actually has, let's be real, common sense dictates the day and date policy of Xbox and PC has diluted the Xbox console's appeal tremendously. It's just probably why it's spurring on these kind of movements. BT Maverick with a $5 super chat. I want to see the same energy from people that are pro Hi-Fi Rush to PlayStation to use that same energy for PlayStation games comes to Xbox, especially from Frodo here. I'm sorry. He said I just saw that. No, they're not going to apply that energy.
I need like a stick next time. I need like...
Interesting poll, even though some of the chat has been kind of coming at us for this. I think so, but the poll is saying otherwise. The poll asks, if Hi-Fi Rush comes to PlayStation 5, is this spitting on Xbox fans? 60% of you out of 231 votes said yes, it is spitting on Xbox fans. I'm glad, because if it was the other way around, I would be so pissed at that poll. And Abdel, being a member for 2 months, shout out to you, because Mike Ybarra joining SIE standing in court against Phil will never recover over Square Enix. Bro said cancel Redfall, now angry that they cancel Odyssey. Ooh, I can't wait to fuck you up with that super chat. This is what I was getting at. We'll talk about it now. In 101 minutes in, I'm not going to announce every time I make notes on this in the future, but this is a new experience for me as I do my timestamps. 101 minutes in. Is there anything more to add on this Xbox third-party chat? I don't know what else can we say. I think we've vented enough. This is almost like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting where we're just me and Kirk venting. What can we say, chat? What can we say? It's just going to be shit. It's going to happen. If it's Hi-Fi Rush or whatever, we'll see. We'll see. So, the next topic, and it's a pretty crazy one, and shouldn't surprise anyone, but because of the way the industry has been in this weird, horrible state for a while now. COVID saw this big boom. Gaming was big as everyone was stuck in their homes. People who weren't gamers became gamers. Everyone was loving Animal Crossing for some reason. And everyone was in love with gaming. And Microsoft saw the numbers, everything, news, no one doing anything. They doubled down on acquisitions and consolidation. And the industry was just sort of massive rise. But it seems like that bubble has burst this year. We saw a whole load of layoffs afflicting a whole ream of studios, from your Insomniacs who had released supposedly successful Spider-Man 2, to your Bungies, to a whole manner of studios. But this one is a big one. Microsoft this Wednesday or Thursday announced that it is ruthlessly cutting out, I think it's 2,900 jobs. It's like 8%
1,900.
1,900. Okay, well, sorry, 1,900 jobs. It's a lot of jobs. Activision, Blizzard, and presumably King, but it's a whole ream of people that have lost. Apparently it wasn't even handled well. So people were reaching out to Jason Schreier of all people. If you're reaching out for Jason Schreier for updates, then it's bad, because that guy is going to be he was not reveling. That's a bit unfair, shitty thing to say to him, but fuck that. Anyway, the stuff apparently reaching out to him to get updates at Activision Blizzard. Massive layoffs. And there was a bit of debate going on the internet on why it's happened. And one camp is think, and the PlayStation camp, some of the most disingenuous pieces of shit. Let's see, this is absolutely because of consolidation, and there's absolutely an element of truth to that. But it's not the only reason. The whole market doesn't operate in a vacuum. Microsoft doesn't operate in a vacuum. Xbox doesn't. And I said it, and I wish I had. I bookmarked some of my thing on Twitter, but I also said it repeatedly on shows. I think in one show I said, "Brace yourself. I'm expecting massive layoffs at ABK. If someone can find out, that'd be great." I don't expect you to. Sorry, that's a horrible request for someone to sift through content I can't be bothered to do or find. But I said that because I knew it was obvious. It wasn't because of consolidation, just that it was just common sense to me. Now, but this does seem, because of the sheer scale of it, and it's not the end of it, by the way. You're going to see more of it, more at Xbox, and probably see more at Player Sony as well. And not that I'm asking or willing this in existence, by the way. I said this 3 or 2 months ago. I said, expect this to happen to Xbox and Activision Blizzard. And someone goes, stop talking about it and willing it to existence. I'm like, I'm just telling you, just stop it, expect it. And it's happened. Very bad. And there's going to be more of it soon. Before I talk about the cancelled IP, Odyssey, Asa, this fiasco is a horrible thing. Do you think this is also one of the clear examples of an element of consolidation leading to that? Because you can't deny that Phil Spencer talked about one of the reasons being is overlap, and naturally we'll get overlap when you acquire something like this. But what's your take on this Microsoft doing? Is this different from everyone else other than the scale?
Spelled Necessity wrong in the title. Yeah, both things are true, right?
I put 2 C's there, sorry.
Yeah, I just saw it scroll by. It made me feel a little bit sick. So both things are true, right? Horrible. Consolidation, mergers and acquisitions, they always lead to layoffs like this. And it's funny to see how many people are suddenly coming forwards and saying it's common sense, of course that was going to happen, but very few of them seem to be like mentioning that as of course it's going to happen until it did happen in the run-up to it all going ahead. You're right, you did, I did. Like, of course it's going to happen. I've sat through mergers and acquisitions and been on the wrong side of it, and I've been on the right side of it. It's inevitable in that space, but the whole industry, on the same day that Microsoft got rid of those 1,900, there were at least 2 other studios, tiny studios, got rid of between 50 and 80% of their staff as well. One of them was Embracer, so still consolidation, but one of them was completely independent. The whole industry has done that. COVID is a part of it. It always gets talked about. Everybody overhired, the industry ballooned, it's contracting. But the industry has also changed. It's massively oversaturated with games in a way that it didn't used to be. It's just a big industry now, and development has grown more than the audience. So even with the COVID balloon and shrink and contraction, nobody has time to play and buy everything there. You've got subscription services that have massively disrupted the way that people engage with and pay for games. So it is just brutal at the moment, and it's horrible to see. It is gonna keep going as well. So that side of it sucks, and I don't really know what else to say about that.
No, you actually made a great point. I dealt with it with the maturity that I strive to, but fail. It is brutal. It is really bad, and I'm not just saying that to pander to virtue signal. It's more because when you do read some of the developers talking about it, it's really shitty. And you know what makes it I know this is an inevitability, and in these deals you can't avoid it. This is a creature of just normal business and whatever, big business and big corporations. But the fact that, you know, your Lulus and your Bobby Kotick's got their massive golden parachutes and cut, and then this happens a few weeks later. And the reason why Microsoft stayed mum and hasn't announced anything with the ABK deal and stuff is because they knew this was going to happen. So they didn't announce their Game Pass inclusion stuff. They'll wait for that to deploy it as a marketing beat later on. And a lot of it's insidious. It's all big business. I'm not saying Microsoft is big, bad Microsoft. This is all corporations. You need to understand that. And Microsoft, especially the $1 trillion fucking company, you don't get to where you are being nice. So it's a bit shit, and expect it to happen all across the board as well. Kirk, do you have anything to add on this whole thing? Do you think? What do you think of? I mean, I don't know what more you can say about the fact that the layoffs are layoffs. But what was your gut reaction to this?
So I think in a lot of ways we buried the lead here to a certain degree, because yes, a lot of the discussion has been about the aspect of it that it's being done to deal with overlap. But they let go of almost 2,000 people. And if you read Phil Spencer's statement, he says there's 3 reasons for all of these layoffs. 1 is they identified overlap. 2, they set new priorities. And 3, they ensured that they're aligned for growth. So those other 2 things are a little bit, they're not as explainable.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue that they're not. I would argue that he's telling us exactly what happened here. So yes, there is the aspect of the merger that some people are going to have to be let go. Like, and so there's this new practice in tech industry that they eliminate redundancy. Well, remember, Elon eliminated redundancy when he took over Twitter, and the website didn't work for like 3 weeks. So like this idea of redundancy, I think there's a bit of like a misuse of that term at this point. It's not literal redundancy. It's how can we gut the entire company so that we can, you know, if you get rid of an employee that makes $50,000 a year in salary, we just made $50,000 for the next year. Like it's very convenient how that works. So they set new priorities, or they set their priorities. I don't think he said the word new. They set their priorities, and they are ensuring growth. Well, what do the shareholders want? They want growth. And those priorities are probably in furtherance of that growth. So when you're talking about letting go of 2,000 people, that's not 2,000 people that work at Activision Blizzard that do the exact same job as somebody else that works at Microsoft already. Yeah, you know, and Jez Corden reported this. They let go of entire QA and you know, customer support teams that work for Activision Blizzard. They let go of people that actually work on content for games like Overwatch. You wanted more content for Overwatch? You think that they're not putting out enough content? It's just a cash grab where they do a Fortnite shop and that's all they're running that game for? Well, yeah, guess what? You're not getting any more content for that because they just gutted that team. You want better content in Diablo? Same type of problem. You want seasons with a lot of playable content, a lot of nuance, and it's not just a shop that charges $30 for skins. Team is gutted now. Call of Duty. Oh, you didn't like that zombies campaign that was basically just Warzone, but they threw zombies in the Warzone map? You thought that was lazy? Team is gutted now. So, like, yeah. I mean, I think that, you know, if Xbox puts themselves, I'm allergic to copium. My body rejects it. I can't ingest it. So if Xbox puts themselves in a position, as much as I like them, where they're not defendable,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna then try, do a dance to try to put my what can you do? There was a merger, or whatever. No, when you're cutting 2,000 people, that is a calculated move again to set those priorities and ensure your growth, to provide and ensure value for your shareholders, to make sure that you are making money. And the problem is that they should be called out for is that not only is that sacrificing the livelihood of a lot of employees, like I'm not saying that no one should have been cut. I'm not saying that no one should have been cut. But if you cut, 500 people versus if you cut almost 2,000 people, there's a drastic difference of what's happening at the company. And like this is going to make them more money, but it's going to directly adversely affect the games that we are going to play and are already playing. That's not acceptable. Like, it's not acceptable that now because you fired a bunch of people, Overwatch 2 is going to be a worse game for me now. Like, there's no way for me to defend that. Like, why did you do that? That person that you fired was making Overwatch 2 better for the people that play it. You fired them. Yeah. What the frick am I supposed to do if I like Overwatch 2? How do I what? You give you more money? Like, no, screw you for doing that. Because it's not only the human element. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, firing people's bad all the time. Like, it really sucks, and I'm incredibly empathetic for the people who don't necessarily know how they're going to support their families like a month on from now,
especially now.
But I'm not just going to stand in and say, no, companies should never fire people ever. I understand that's a delusional take. Like, I get it. Or lay them off, I should say. Sorry, not fire them. Like, it's for business reasons. It's not because they didn't perform. But that's the thing. It's not because they didn't perform. And also, not all of these positions are just overlap and redundancy. You've got people who were literally working on making games better that are kind of ass. Like, people in the public discourse are like, Overwatch, kind of ass. Halo, kind of ass. Diablo 4, kind of ass. Call of Duty, kind of ass. And they're like, everybody that works on all those games, they're gone. Like, not literally everybody, but like people that you need. That's the thing about these small games like Multiverses and No Man's Sky. Like, like No Man's Sky is doing well now, or Rumbleverse. Like, they come out with small teams and then the game blows up. Be interested to see what Palworld does, by the way. But they get made by small teams and it blows up and everybody's like, where's all the content? I love this game. I love that it's a live service. I want more content. Give me more. And they can't keep up with it, and so the game dies. And like, that takes personnel. There's a reason that the companies that don't have that personnel can't keep up with it, and the game dies. So Microsoft is literally just killing their games by firing the people that work on them, laying them off rather. Like, just because it's not just because of the consolidation. Like, it is literally to increase the profit margin so that this business can make more money at the expense of our experience as Xbox gamers. That's bull crap. That is bull crap.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you said that. And I think on many angles, even as a selfish gaming angle, the burden is now on Microsoft. I pushed this tweet out yesterday saying, look, I hope now Xbox fans at the very least can be a little bit more critical and demanding from ABK and Xbox about them nurturing new IPs and delivering good games and revisiting old IPs. They need to do well by the gamers. I'm not going to be sitting here then to say, oh, thank you so much for keep putting Call of Duty on Game Pass. I'm going to say thank you, but that does not absolve the hope. And I said this before the deal went through, and when it went through, that I will be on them like a hawk about what they do with ABK. And for me, it's strike one when they cancelled Odyssey. Now we're going to get into what they did with Odyssey in a bit. Let me read these super chats. Asa, do you want anything to add there before I go?
Not yet. I'll wait for Odyssey. Go for it.
Okay, you wait for Odyssey. Cool. Let me read these super chats. Thank you again for the super chats. We've got Joseph Posmic again. Thank you so much for the NOK 50. He says Hellblade 2 Avowed Indiana Jones are going to other platforms. Why Ponyboard's talking and acting so much about old games? Happy birthday, Gaz. We don't know about which games are appearing on there, Joseph. We have no idea. King Thrash, shout out to you with the $5 super because wish I was there today. You bots are lucky. When I do come, be ready. Do you know, chat? Yes, last week you may remember I said I was going to be a pony on the show. It was King Thrash was actually going to be on and on camera. but unfortunately he had an issue which I won't get into. He couldn't make it. Look, me and King Thrash have beef. We will probably always have beef on a lot of things, but in GameOnDaily, we like to have conversations with everyone. He was very courteous in his invite to me when I went on his show. So why not return the favor? And it'd be interesting to have that conversation. Joseph, King Thrash, you should have come this week. He had a lot to talk about. But we'll see when we'll definitely get that sorted. Joseph Pomzik with the NOK 20. Now, not only layoffs, studios are going to close. Absolutely. Lao Shimazaki, shout out to you with 1,000 yen. King Trash, aka You Can Land on Gas Giant Cinderella wants to make an appearance on the show. Let's fucking go. And he will. Lao, he was supposed to be here today. I know it's a very divisive figure and between my friends as well, but hey, man, King Trash makes me laugh and he's pretty chill with me. And you will enjoy, I promise you, even though you hate or pretend to hate or whatever the personalities, I bet you will enjoy the show. I'll make sure you do. Dodge Knight with a £20 super chat. I'm very generous with shout out to you. He goes, I'm spending more time with Palworld than my own children. Safe. I won't say anything about your parent. I actually don't blame you, bro, because I was doing that more than I was doing my work, which I should have been. Huggy Chatty, thank you for being a member for 30 months. Yo, the layoffs always suck, but when Microsoft acquired ABK, it was 10K employees. ABK went up to 17K employees before it was done. They're still up 50%. I think that's a very important point there. Microsoft has hired a lot of people as well, and this does not get mentioned in the discourse surrounding this. It's damage control. It's a significant thing that Hoggeat mentions, that they have hired a lot. And you have to look when you buy, and this is going to lead into the Odyssey chat, which is now. When you acquire someone, you're going to make an assessment on things, and some things won't work, and the overlap or whatnot or whatever. We have given Microsoft a lot of shit for not being hands off when they should be hands on, and making this decision for a multitude of reasons will not be an easy one, maybe easier than it should be for Microsoft, but still won't be an easy one. And this next game, this one really stung me, man. Less than even 12 hours before this announcement, I had pushed out a tweet which got fucking made me the persona of Twitter. It was actually fucking hilarious. I said, looking at Palworld, imagine. I was thinking about this. We were like in party chat and talking to Colt and everyone. It was like a survival game, and my friends love survival games, especially Ben. We're like, imagine the value of a Blizzard quality, and I mean old Blizzard quality survival game, Odyssey, which doesn't get talked about that much. It didn't get talked about that much, I'll be honest. Forgot the name of this code word, Odyssey. But imagine the scope of a Blizzard quality survival game, and unfortunately, that is canned. It spent 6 years in development, and part of the reason why this game got cancelled, it had a pretty turbulent development time. It started off with an engine whose name I forget.
Synapse.
Synapse. Yeah. Synapse, Americans, Synapse. I don't even know which one is the correct one now. The UK one now. I've said it so many times. Synapse.
Synapse sounds cooler, so we'll just go with that.
Synapse. Let's just say Synapse. Yeah, Synapse. Synapse does sound cool. Synapse, which is it was an engine that was primarily for mobile, it was geared towards mobile development. So it's not exactly the greatest thing, but the developers wanted to use Unreal Engine. The problem with Unreal Engine is some of the leadership, I imagine, there was beef. This is a typical example of leadership saying something and staff saying another. Leadership wanted to do this 100-player ambition, which didn't pan out. But the developers were begging for this game to be run on Unreal Engine. And when Microsoft bought them, the developers were hoping Microsoft was like, we can finally get Unreal Engine, get this game running on Unreal Engine. The developers who worked on it said that it's actually a really good game. Obviously, every development will say that. The developers are behind Factions, cancelled game, probably think the same thing as well, right? But if you read what they said, and the game is going to be coming out projected to come out around 2026. So still a long ways to go. So 6 years plus another few more years till it's ready, because it's clearly had a turbulent development. But then their wish didn't come true. Unreal Engine probably was just not viable. Microsoft is making these cuts. And we don't have the insight into the quality of the game or whatnot. I can only go by what the developers are saying. And the developers are saying, look, it was really good. And they're really sad to see their work and never realize, which is horrible. Horrible as a creative. You spent all those years and you never get to see a creative piece of work. Like, you put your heart and soul into it, you have a vision for it, you want to be part of the story, and you cut it. I don't even want to be in that position as a YouTuber, as a creative, and you're putting a video in a freaking timeline, and I'm so worried about losing that shit. Can you imagine being a game dev, doing this on a level, multitudes of levels high? It's not even comparable. So I was pissed, and my attitude is, it still is, strike one against Microsoft, because I don't get they don't get the benefit of the doubt. Publishers don't get benefit of the doubt. For me, my attitude is developers will get the benefit of the doubt. And I look at the developers and I'm like, why? Why couldn't you support it? Microsoft, who announced you are now the richest company in the world. I get it. You have to make cuts. A lot of people said, hold on, Gaz. Do you really want a Redfall situation? Because this is Redfall. How? I get the turbulent development, but you don't know that for a fact, and you killed a creative vision for a game, especially now when Palworld is going incredibly well. That shows the utility of a survival game like this. So what's going to replace it then? If I get it, I could go there today, see the work that they did, and say, you know what, this is actually bollocks, actually is Redfall. Fine. But your attitude, I would put forward, is that you need to show us what you're going to do now to foster creativity at Microsoft. When Phil Spencer was doing the tour, he goes, we're going around and speaking to developers about what they want to build and what they want to work on. Show us. Tell us now what you're going to do. And you need to tell us that you are going to do something with ABK other than just fucking become a COD machine. Because ABK becomes just a COD machine for Microsoft just to just churn out COD. I'm going to take the piss out them and rinse them rawly. And every Xbox fan should do that, who spent 2 years fighting for this shit. Fighting for this shit, this deal to go through. Why? I want Xbox to do better. But yeah, and that's my attitude on it. Really, and I'm not saying this won't happen, but it won't happen if you don't apply pressure, if you're constantly making excuses. Asa, you're laughing at me, my long fucking rant. I'm sorry. I had a lot to unpack this, and I could say ages. There's a lot to say here, but Asa, what's your take on Odyssey getting cancelled? Is it good because it was a Redfall situation? Is it bad? What do you think? Am I just being...
It's terrible for me personally, because I've spent... It's been a recurring theme for me that I always talk about Odyssey when I'm talking about the survival genre, because we were talking about earlier with Palworld and all the other ones that come out and have this jank phase where they blow up on Steam, and they're all janky and kind of terrible in their own way, but it's an endearing little genre and people love it and they're really popular. And I always look at that genre and go, that is ripe for a quality studio, someone who's like Blizzard have traditionally been forever, to just come in and refine it and polish it and make a AAA survival game. And it will do incredibly well if they can nail it. And nobody nails those things as well as Blizzard at least used to do. Whether they've fallen off and become greedy or not is why we always say that they're the most interesting part is acquisition. We wanted Microsoft to fix them, not kill them. I will say, when you're supposed to destroy the thing, not join them. Yeah, that's it. That's the accent. It's not, but you're assigning that strike to Microsoft with great authority, and they're obviously partly responsible, but we're on the outside, and for all we know, this game was internally cancelled by higher ups a year or two back, and they just couldn't execute on that until the acquisition had gone through. So we've spoken for a long time about Microsoft's hands being tied and things. It is highly likely that within Activision Blizzard, the people that make the decisions were ready to nix this a year ago. And it's just been holding, like kicking the can down the road until Microsoft has to ultimately make that decision. So it sucks. And I'm not defending Microsoft for Kona, because I really wanted to see Odyssey. I still really want to see Odyssey, but we don't know the state of the game. We don't know what internally Activision Blizzard King were thinking about it and what they would have done with it if there was no merger and acquisition. And we don't know what else Microsoft have got in the pipeline. Like, I'm not saying Everwild is the one, but they could have a game like that could turn out to be their take on the survival genre. They might not have wanted to. So there's so much that is unknown. I say this as someone who's bitter, who was really, really looking forward to seeing what Odyssey is, really skeptical of what Blizzard are today relative to what they were used to be. But this was like a potential for their redemption. What really sucks more about it, though, is obviously they got rid of the game, but they got rid of the entire team that was working on it as well. And for all of these decisions around the engine and the whispers around it, and was it good, was it bad, whatever else, it's hard to believe that this team was just like not good at what they do and couldn't have been used to create a new IP. If it's not going to be Odyssey, like you've got talent there, they're doing something, they work for you, Microsoft. Get them on something new if that's what it needs doing. I'll take it rather than send those people packing. But
you went and bought all these studios for the sole purpose of making great games, and now you don't have enough room for good studios. It doesn't make any sense.
Magnum says that team must have been dog shit. Holy shit!
My God,
what the fuck?
No, what actually happened, Gaz? You mentioned it earlier, and Asa, to your comment about we don't know what the state of it is. We kind of do though, because the problem was that the in-house engine was, so it would have been like Blizzard's Frostbite basically. The in-house engine was basically like unworkable. Like they just weren't able to get it off the ground
all over again. Yeah.
So, I mean, basically, we know the state of the game was that they didn't have anything, because they wouldn't have stuck with that engine. That's why it was in development hell, was because of that engine. So basically, you would have taken that team with the original creative vision and direction, put Microsoft sort of over them, and Microsoft would have given them a license to go make that game on Unreal 5 or like wherever they're going to do it, and they would have had to start from scratch. So the state of the game was that there was no game. So that's what we're looking at. And then the question becomes, are you going to let them go make a game, or are you not? Like, it's not really that they canned a game that already looked bad. It's exactly how Asa set it up, of you have this talented team of about 250 people. Is there space for them at Microsoft or not to go and make a great game? And contrary to what Phil told us about 3 years ago about how they wanted all this talent at Microsoft to make all these great games for us for Game Pass and everything, they cut them all. So what the hell's up with that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Cutting them is like, they're talented people, I'm sure. The same day Fable was announcing like it was looking for some art. I don't know, how far is Fable from development? I have no idea, but they're still hiring for some pretty fundamental roles constantly. And I was like, well, did you not chat to the 2,000 people you cut? Surely you could have moved some there. Maybe, we don't know what the dynamic is there. But it's crazy. I saw, it's Alex in the chat. And this is quite a valid point. I'm trying to scroll back, where he basically said, Blizzard literally ruined the franchise that made them who they are, Diablo. My guess is Odyssey was going to be trash anyway. And we had Fonz, actually, thank you for remembering, for a year. Because, to be honest, guys, it sounded like a mess. 6 years in the making, and still many years off release and on a mobile engine. Very valid point. And Tim Per21 says, thank you for the Canadian $2 super chat. He goes, Blizzard quality and Arcane don't miss. He's talking about the fact that, we're espousing that Blizzard quality survival game, but Arcane is an example of those known qualities not actually panning out in reality.
And Rocksteady coming up with the Suicides, like everybody's like, oh, it's Rocksteady, so it's got to be good. And then,
like they said with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk and whatever, like exactly, there's no guarantee there. My natural inclination is to be pissed. I completely concede and understand that this could have been an absolute toilet show, but people's gut reaction to say and assume it is, and then not demand it. Okay, if you think that this is a Redfall situation or whatever, do you not think then, and it could be, and I absolutely, I'm not saying there's just to humor you, significant chance that it may be that, but based on what I read, I felt like there was a potential there, especially in the survival genre. Do you not think then that there's an impetus on Microsoft with Activision Blizzard to deliver something to make up for these job losses, to give us something for the deal? I mean, the question seems almost redundant at this point, because the answer should be a blatant yes. But the burden is on them. My attitude is, you did all of this, you hurt people's livelihoods or whatever, you cut their staff and you killed a project, then you need to do something to rectify it. And maybe they have that in the works, but I don't know. And at this point in time, it's just very hard to be optimistic about it. It feels almost like copium to say, I'm sure Microsoft will do well. They're just trimming the fat, making it a well-oiled machine, and we're going to get great games out of it. And if I said that, that would want to make me a prick, really, into making me to just assuming bullshit as well. But people are saying this.
The reality is they made it harder for them to deliver on that obligation by cutting all those people. Like, if you cut off your own legs, you're not going to be able to win a race.
Wow.
I mean, you know, like,
yeah.
I mean, they just gutted the hardworking people that maybe could have gotten them there to deliver, because it's literally like that South Park episode where George R.R. Martin is like, he's like constantly saying that the dragons are coming. Oh, they're coming. Just wait, they're coming. Like, that's how Xbox is about the games. Like, the games are all Hellblade's coming, Starfield's coming, you know. And it's like, now we've actually had some of the games, but they haven't like been the blockbusters that we were told that they were gonna be. And it's like, who makes them that way? It's the people on the front lines, the devs. And if you take a team down to half its size, yeah, you're losing all the little intricacies and the attention to detail and everything that make really great games great. So they just made it harder to deliver. It's just a snowball of just not good things. And it's just rolling down a hill. Xbox is just rolling down a hill, collecting more dirt and garbage, and we have to like try to be like, oh no, it's just a big football, you know, like whatever. It's like, no, it's just a big pile of garbage. Okay,
it is a big pile of garbage. I don't want to overstate it too much, because it's not just Microsoft in that position. You know, again, burden is on them, and they all have to deliver. I just hope the attitude of the fandom and loyal Xbox fans is to demand more from ABK. But I don't see that. I don't have much faith in that. I feel like I'm going to be at loggerheads with people. People can see me as bitter person asking, constantly berating Microsoft to do something with Blizzard. The reason why we were I made videos on it. People loved it. They're like, yeah. Like Activision, Blizzard can finally be fixed. They can finally, this is it. And I'm still, and 100% still pro consolidation. Why would my view change now on an inevitability that has happened across the board to all different studios? I am pro consolidation because, one, the idea is still to maintain the fact that Blizzard can be fixed. Tencent weren't going to fix them. Blizzard haven't been fixing them themselves. Bobby Kotick sitting there like the Baron from Dune and just slapping his penis on his chest wasn't going to do it. Xbox has the burden. Xbox is the right fit to try and get this done, and I'm going to be relentless on them doing better with Activision. And any good fan should do that. And I don't want to see the kind of people who are excusing Naughty Dog when they fucking cancelled Factions for years. And Factions' excuse was bollocks as well. I'm sorry. When Naughty Dog said, "Oh no, we realized that we would be working on this gas game forever," it's bullshit excuse.
That's what they are. That's what they are. Why did you try to make one if you weren't going to do that? That doesn't make any sense. Here's some levels we didn't finish though. Buy our game again.
Back to the levels. But it's true. No, people are like, oh no, but Naughty Dog couldn't really fucking sustain it forever. Why the fuck did you do it? You're supposed to be top tier. People put you in the same breath as Rockstar.
Guys, they could have literally made another game. They could have literally made another Uncharted, like a Lost Legacy, in the time that they spent making that game that's never going to come out now. Why did you do that? Nobody asked for that.
And I don't trust that bullshit when fucking Cuckman comes up on stage and shows concept art for a fucking, really? You sold us the vision. And here fucking Cuckman said that he's going to show you something and there's nothing there at all. So why, and the same hypocrisy from Xbox fans on this very point where we laughed and mocked Last of Us Factions, but don't apply the same energy here. Well, then by your account, it was another Redfall situation. Bullshit. And I apply the same energy here. Naughty Dog, right as it stands, they can't do multiplayer in this current sphere. You might say, oh, they can't do gas. No, they can't do multiplayer. Prove it to me. And you're going to go all the way back to The Last of Us 1, and that's it. Done. They're not doing multiplayer. Their press statement says they're going to focus back on single player. Failure on Naughty Dog. Shit studio that churns out remasters and remakes. Clip it, you fucking dick. And you can't do multiplayer right. You're a one-trick pony. GS getting stuff done with the $5 super chat. They don't have to do anything except keep their stock happy. Stop thinking like a fucking shareholder, you. First rule of business, you don't throw good money after bad. No, I'm a gamer. I want good money. You know how you make good money? By delivering quality. And I want ABK to do that. Now, Microsoft, ABK's fucking massive sledgehammers, huge cuts. The COD studios. And we've got news that Microsoft are not going to be doubling down on this whole fucking contractor policy. The contractor policy that was principally the reason behind why Halo Infinite just suffered as it did because of their bespoke slip space engine.
I thought the contractor thing was local laws rather than doubling down on anything. Like they chose to use contractors rather than employees, but it was local laws. I mean, they could only keep them for 18 months, right?
It's local laws, but they apparently strategically pick that region. I think it's Washington or somewhere where they do that, and they elect to use contractors to like rinse them dry. And there's their decision to use contractors. That's a problem. But part of me does think that they may be positive for COD because they know it's valuable. But how will they handle the churn? I just want them to do something with COD, give it a rest a bit and give us some quality, because there's, I don't know, man. It's just like everywhere the business is just bollocks.
Well, Gaz, Call of Duty Vanguard was so good that I think they can afford to cut half the team that worked on it.
That's true. Vanguard isn't that great. The good example in Sledgehammer, I would always say Infinity Ward were the best ones there. Sledgehammer, I didn't think why people hyped them up. Look, early days, and obviously emotions are going to run high. How this pans out, I don't know. Microsoft may right the ship, but you won't see me having a gut reaction saying this is positive and this is great. You have to be a complete sucker to assume that, especially on the basis of the statements they've released, the press statements, which are just like
can
reading.
You guys imagine if Hellblade is bad? Like, can you imagine if Hellblade? Really, I do too, but can you imagine? Like, can you imagine?
When you say bad, yeah, what do you mean by that? Because I think some people, they have overhyped Hellblade to be like
Xbox overhyped Hellblade. Xbox did that. People didn't do that. Xbox has done that with their marketing campaign. This is a very small game that this game is a sequel to, and Xbox is like, this is a big project for us. This is a big deal. Xbox is communicating that.
The thing is, Xbox, by virtue of having Hellblade revealed with the Series X, did that. But and they haven't really marketed it well, but they're trying to manage expectations. What's his name? Tony Antonides, or what's his name? He, the main guy, the guys that was partying all the time with hose and stuff, he released a vidoc and said, look, this is going to be a game that we've doubled our studio size from 20 to 40, so still AA space, but we're going to show that we are going to deliver like AAA quality, but it'll still be, it's almost like an indie project, but boosted up as a result of consolidation, and a positive example of developers realizing their vision unshackled by the constraints of their previous indie budgets. They've expressly said that. I get it, Microsoft's lackadaisical performance in 2022 and the vacuum that left and the pressure that they've added on themselves as a result of their spotty performance has now put pressure on Hellblade. I will concede to that. Absolutely, it does. But I just also feel like fans are a bit of a problem when it comes to this, or some journalists are saying this could be the next big thing. It's going to be Hellblade 1, the sequel, very closely playing to it, but it could play out beautifully if you were a fan of Hellblade 1, which was a bit of a niche title, actually, in terms of the manner in which it plays. I know, Fonz, you're not a fan of it, but I feel like people are setting up Hellblade for unrealistic expectations.
I think it's going to be like a Death Stranding moment. Like, there's going to be a lot of people that get in there and they're like, what?
That's a good example,
Yeah.
Absolutely. It could be. We'll see. We'll see about that and see what happens. Well, I think we've covered Is there anything else to add on that? If I missed an element of this, I think we've talked about Odyssey. We've talked about what that means. Tony says, Gaz is crying. I can see through the glasses. You can see through my soul. Whilst we were talking, I had a very nice chat. Zakin Clute message. Xbox have announced, actually, in their press thing, Visions of Mana. This Square Enix's surprise at the developer direct. We were assuming that it was not going to be. We were postulating, or we were enthusing about this potentially coming to Game Pass. It looks like it is a Game Pass game. So this JRPG.
How is that not in the showcase then?
I don't know. Man.
What?
I don't know why the whole.
I mean, fantastic. I'm so glad that's the case, but like, how did you miss that win? Like
that
to say,
I don't know.
I don't
maybe
know.
There was an element of it where they were maybe in discussions about the remuneration on it. So you don't know, but yeah, it's a miss.
That's fantastic news.
That's great news, man.
Yeah.
Because look, for ages, Xbox hasn't had the benefit of having this. Because Sony's exclusionary tactics with JRPGs and Square Enix, Microsoft has a work cut out. But things like this will help. Even though it's good, it seems like fighting in a tornado. I think this will actually keep doing this, and will have the cumulative effect of making people realize, like, you know what, Xbox does have JRPGs. We should take notice, especially if we were Japanese and we're looking at these. So it's great news. Great news. So well done, Microsoft.
Clarity.
Yes.
Like, who did you say that breaking news came from? Where is this story?
Sorry, this is actually an Xbox's leak from Xbox.com. I'm sending it to you now. It's not breaking news, but it's there's multiple strands to this. But I've sent this is Xbox's own webpage, Xbox.com. People just have accessed that prematurely.
So went up too early or something, or they,
yeah, Visions of Mana's games coming soon to console and Game Pass, unless it's a typo and if some intern has actually typed that in there and it's not the case.
Or doctored, or somebody just photoshopped it or whatever.
Yeah, so it's not confirmed. But it is. It looks like that's where they're heading. It also doesn't make sense for it not to be there, considering Microsoft's strategy and its developer direct and its inclusion there. So I'm very confident it will be there. But if it's not there, we'll see. But what do you do? Gaz is a boviating gas bag. Who the fuck is Star Traffic? He's been talking bollocks about me all day. And you bet he has 7 chins and he smells like smegma. Shout out to everyone in the chat. It has been a really good show. If you did, look, we won't agree on everything. That's the way life is, okay? But you can clip away and take it out of context. Just understand that I will molest you for doing that. But it has been an incredible show. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Before we go, we have to let Kirk. Did you enjoy your time here? Have you done a podcast like this before? You say no. Say yes to the first question and no to the second one. Sorry.
I did really enjoy my time here, and no, I definitely haven't encountered it or worked with a host quite like you. It's very entertaining. So I never know like when to talk. I tried to keep because you're asking us like to comment, but I tried to keep my interjections to like funny stuff. So hopefully people found me funny and not obnoxious. A lot of times people think I'm obnoxious, but you're incredibly entertaining. Like it's almost like I've never had the feeling when I'm on a show, it always feels like I'm kind of just like focused on doing a good job at like presenting and like being on the show. And I've never had the feeling of like I'm watching the show like while I'm on it, but like you're such an entertaining host that I'm like watching you host while I'm on the show. It's kind of a surreal experience. So yeah, man, really cool. I hope you have me back.
Absolutely, bro. I think you'll get a lot of invites after this one because you're fucking entertaining as well. I'm just loving your stuff. I wasn't interjecting because you're fucking animated just like me, man. It's brilliant. Chat, put hearts in the chat for Kirkland because Kirkland smashed it. It was fucking brilliant, man. And I'm so glad that you enjoy the show. That's the main thing. If our guests enjoy the show.
Yeah, fantastic.
Can't wait to have you on again.
Great
as well,
discussion. Man. Asa, you're incredibly knowledgeable, man. Like good always setting us straight, we get out of line, let it tell us real facts.
I'm not, but thanks.
You are, and I think three man is now solidified, I think, other than, when it's not. I said that last time, and we ended up having multiple shows with 4 guests, but this was perfect with 3 guests. Kirkland, you have to shout your flowers. Where can people find you?
You can follow me at Warmer Gray, so like warm gray, but warmer, on Twitter. And my YouTube channel is What's New Video Games. It's probably not going to come up if you search just What's New Video Games. You got to search for channels, because it's like I have like 2,000 subscribers. So if you guys can get me to 3,000, that'd be fantastic eventually. But yeah, you're not gonna find me unless you put on that search filter. So, but yeah, I do reviews. I have a Tekken 8 review that's up right now if you're curious about that. And then Suicide Squad review should be coming early next week, and that's one that people are going to need reviews for, because again, IGN and those outlets, they don't have those codes, or at least the game's not turned on for them to play. So I'm gonna bust my ass midnight on Monday to try and get in the game and play as much of it as I can and get a review out for you guys. And the only other thing is Kirk the Gamer on Twitch. I'm rarely on Twitch. If you're for people's energy, go follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's all I need from you. So if you guys can do that, I really appreciate it. And I hope that you'll see me back on this space, because I had such a great time with these 2 gentlemen here. It was a fantastic show, and love what you guys are doing. Like it's so entertaining, and it's informative as well. Like it's a great combination of those 2 things.
No, I really appreciate the kind words, man. And I hope we strive to, and definitely having you on again, man. It's going to be fucking fantastic. I might actually get you on with someone else actually and do a 4-man show just to see you throw some fireworks with someone with an opposing mindset. We don't like to have dissenting opinions. But thank you so much. Thank you, Isla, in the chat for actually linking Kirk stuff there as well. Please do follow. Please do follow him. It's going to be wicked. Asa, before we sign out, what's in store? I know you're working on some crazy stuff.
Loads of stuff, yes. My first of my many podcasts starts this Thursday, which is an Xbox podcast. I have a different kind of podcast starting the following week as well. Yeah, on a Thursday. Still got my Q&A shows over there as well.
Do you know how I found out about this? Through BG. Through Weapon Wheel podcast. I just heard Deadly Headley mentioned it. He's such a good friend that he told me that you got Gansley and Deadly Headley.
This is what a good friend you are. You didn't listen in the slightest. Yeah, I've got an Xbox One. I'm actively looking out for a PlayStation 1 as well. So loads and loads of things going on. Maybe even Nintendo later in the year. So loads of stuff going there. At the moment, the channel is still GameOnDaily, so it won't be called that for that much longer. But yeah, loads of stuff going on. So subscribe over there and you'll be safe. Also got a really awesome Discord where we've got a massive Palworld server that we're all dicking about on at the moment. So loads going on.
Oh, sick. That's wicked. Shout out that. Absolutely.
I forgot to say, Kirkland, you were an awesome guest. Thank you for keeping the conversation flowing in the way that it did. So it was a good time.
Thank you so much.
You're natural. It was brilliant. Thank you, everyone in chat. We're going to sign out. I'm not even going to talk about my relaunch. Just know it's coming. When it's coming, even I don't know. But it's going to be epic, I hope. Please hit the like button to share it out if you enjoyed the show. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Peace.